Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Show Boys podcast. We're so happy you're here with us. Gonna get right to it. Go to showboysmedia.com and check that website out. It's just a fun place to be. Join the Discord if you like. And a shout out our top tier patrons, Joe, Bim, and Yusuf H. You guys rock. And also special shout out to all our other patrons. You guys also rock. Mike just doesn't like you at all. But Chad and I like you a lot.
We like you.
We have really, I looked at it. It's been 10 weeks since we've done a kind of a general what's playing. But caveat to that is our past two episodes have been also what's playing technically.
Yeah.
So after Game of Thrones, I think we have a lot of pent up gaming talk energy going here. So it's Chad and I again tonight, and
I'm rocking the symbols. Check it out. I'm rocking the symbols.
He's got all the PlayStation symbols.
Ready to go.
That's very cool. I did not see that on the sleeves originally.
Yeah,
that's a nice
super
touch.
cool, right?
That's a very nice touch. Looks warm for me though. Long sleeves, I just don't do long sleeves. Gets
I typically wear a hoodie literally all year long. And today was just, for whatever reason, even though it's not even really that warm out, today was just a little too hot for the hoodie. So I downsized to the long sleeve t-shirt.
Interesting. Yeah, because I went outside and it was surprisingly like fallish out there.
Yeah, I don't know why, because I've literally been wearing a hoodie all summer long, including the days that it's like 90. So I don't know why today.
Hot,
very
dry.
hot summer. Yeah,
you're just rocking hoodies like a madman.
Yeah, like a madman. Yeah, I have like a deep obsession with hoodies. So in the summertime, the short sleeve hoodies come out, Under Armour short sleeve hoodies, because I have to sleep with hoodie on and I have to have my hood up, and that doesn't work in an attic room in the summertime. You know what I mean? Because it's already like 90 degrees up there. So you gotta downsize to the little short sleeve Under Armour hoodies.
You have to sleep in the attic. That's where you have to sleep.
That's where I sleep, in the attic. Yeah, it's not a finished room. It's just the attic, right on the rafters.
Wow, that's crazy. That's hardcore.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
Well, to kick it off, you got any news you want to bring up?
I do. I have one news item, and then I have a one me news item that I want to talk about a little bit. But we'll do the regular news item first, okay?
Chad, breaking news.
Yeah. So my article that I picked was hints point at Sekiro 2 as the next From Software game after Elden Ring. And there's not a lot to bite onto here, okay?
Hints.
But Activision Blizzard has been sponsoring content creators to create videos exclusively about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is a game that came out in 2019. Seems a little odd that they would randomly just start sponsoring people to put this stuff up. I don't know really how any of that stuff works. I don't know if it's just like a cycle. They just cycle these games through and sponsor randomly. But I'm hopeful. And here, I'm not going to break down how much I love Sekiro even more than I already have. Go watch my walkthrough. Like I just eat it up on there. So, but I am now currently, one of the games I'm going to be talking about tonight is Elden Ring. I'm finally neck deep in Elden Ring, and it is making me really want a Elden Ring style open world, but with Sekiro's combat. And I'm hoping that if we ever get a sequel to that game, that's the route they take. Now that they've kind of figured out the open world thing, we'll get to that later when we talk about Elden Ring. That would be the perfect combination. Sekiro combat, big open world. I'm in. Fingers crossed. I know a lot of people are really hoping for a Bloodborne sequel. I never played Bloodborne, so I mean, it is what it is. I need to go back and play it now that I'm like accustomed to the Dark Souls games. But yeah, I had to put this in here because I'm like, please, dude, please let this be the reason they are sponsoring people. They want to get hype around the original game because they're about to drop a trailer. And there's been multiple articles that have dropped that From Software might even be towards the end of development on a new game already. So that would be super interesting, seeing that they just put out Elden Ring their biggest game yet. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. And there's also some other news, I think, with From Software, and PlayStation bought a certain amount of shares of From Software, and so did Tencent, like 10% or something like that. So that right there makes it seem like we might get that Bloodborne sequel, because that was a PlayStation exclusive. So they're throwing money at the situation, hoping that From Software steps up and makes a sequel. But I know that me and a lot of other people want a Sekiro sequel over Bloodborne, 100%. And I've talked about it a million times on the show. It's a Japanese studio making a Japanese game. You know what I mean? That's where you got to imagine that's where the interest is for them over vampires or whatever Bloodborne's about.
They've become quite the popular studio in the past few years.
Yep.
They're pretty much in high demand. If people are wanting Bloodborne, Sekiro, probably people want like an Elden Ring sequel already.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there. I will say that, I put 90 something hours into Assassin's Creed Valhalla, never finished it. This game might be equally that size of content in this game. It's absurd. So the article I was talking about is Sony and Tencent have bought over 30% of Elden Ring developer From Software. So I don't know what Tencent's play is. I know what Sony's play probably is, and that's Bloodborne. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a PlayStation exclusive game that was made by one of the best developers making games right now. So it seems logical that they would want a sequel to it. But the thing that I'm a little hung up on Sekiro was published by Activision. Okay. And we know Microsoft is in the process of buying Activision. I don't think it's gone through yet. So fingers crossed. I think if I'm right, From Software owns the rights to Sekiro, not Activision. They just published it. So hopefully that's true, because I might be finding my way to an Xbox sooner than I would like if that turns out to be the case.
All for the Sekiro.
Yeah, man. It's unmatched. It really is. It's unmatched.
I know. I got to play it someday. I need to.
Yeah, you should. Oathbreaker.
Mike Courtney, he says, "Sud dudes, what's up, Mike Courtney? Glad you can pop into the stream here and hang out. We're just about to read one of our Answer the Boys comments, since we have a handful, and some of them are rather lengthy. Might as well just kind of work them the whole episode.
Yeah, man.
Dad the Cap in the Discord, he said he's been playing Project Zomboid and Doom Eternal. That must be the remake.
That's his jam. I think I saw the video that he put out. So he's playing through that. What's up?
There he is.
Yeah, I need to play Doom Eternal. For whatever reason, the one that came out before that made me like wickedly motion sick. So not really up my alley. I need to play them, but it's
frame rates are way too low for you. You
maybe
got
that's
ill.
what it is, dude. Yeah, it just wrecked my equilibrium. I was all over the place, so I had to give up on it. But it does look really cool, and I've never heard of Project Zomboid. So,
is that underfunded cosplaying as Jeff?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he hijacked him and dropping the yo. Someone had to bring it back. And ugly kid Joe Cross, he said Mike's a real boy. Mike is a real boy. He's a real boy out there on the beach, being a beach boy. Man, they're busy in the comments here. I don't know. I already read that one. Okay. Sweet. I mean, since Mike's here, we can just hear what Mike's playing, so he can get to hear all that. Big list incoming, he says. Beat Braveland trilogy on the Switch. Very meh. I don't know why he plays meh games. Like, I just stay away from meh games.
Yeah, he's right up there.
He likes to punish himself with just meh Switch Nintendo games. I feel like that's the second one I've heard him say, like, "Oh, I played it solid 3 out of 10." I'm like, like, right. That's sad. Yeah. He started under Hero on the Switch. Been pretty cool so far. And he recently beat Detroit Become Human. Go check that out on Showboy's Gaming channel. All his streams are up there, as well as Resident Evil 1 HD on PC. And all those are also up
Mike,
on Showboy's
what do I
Gaming.
have to do to get you to stream a playthrough of Sekiro? Because Nick's obviously like he's just fallen off the bandwagon. He's not on it.
There's
He's not
there's
on it.
two hills to climb with that statement. One, I have to play Sekiro, which I think I can get up that hill someday. But
Someday.
stream it, absolutely
Out.
not. Like
He's out. Yeah.
out.
But Mike would. I feel like Mike would. Because he's played hard games. He's played a couple hard games. That what was Darkest Dungeon, I think was
Darkest Dungeon, yeah.
So
And
there's
you'll
gotta
have
be-
your
there's gotta be
walkthrough
something.
like on the side.
Yeah.
Holding his
Terrible
hand.
video quality and all, you know.
So here he is. He said the game. He needs the game. So I have the game.
See,
And
that was a bad answer because that can be resolved rather quickly. So
I
you should have
will-
maybe
I will put it in the bushes at your house, Mike. And you can grab it as soon as you get home from vacation. And sounds like that's the next game you're screaming, buddy.
that would be like a tune in every night type of deal for me if he streamed Sekiro.
Probably more tune in and watch Mike cry every night. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it would be great. I'd love to see Bio play it as well.
We're just
Really
gonna pass
wanna
your
see Bio
copy
play
of
it.
Sekiro
Yeah,
around.
it's just gonna get
around
passed
the
around.
group.
Yeah.
It's just one viewer. It's Chad just watching
Yeah.
everybody replay Sekiro while he's replaying it himself for the 17th time.
Yep. I've
Okay.
gotten. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've gotten the itch while playing at Elden Ring to go back and play Sekiro again, even though I literally just did a walkthrough for it. Like
That's wild. It's like playing arguably the best game of the year, and for some people, like ever.
yeah,
But you're like, yeah, I kind of want to play Sekiro again for the
yeah,
17th time.
yeah. Because it's got that underlying From Software feeling to it, but the
Mhm.
combat's just not there. You know.
Ooh. Hey, answer it, Chad. Mike wants to see
That
your
is
hoodie.
that is not a hoodie. It's a long sleeve T-shirt, but yes, it is PlayStation. Got the symbols.
that
up
sharp, Mike?
both sleeves.
Oh yeah, it's got
Super comfortable too. Like it's
looks
great.
looks cozy. You look
It's
cozy.
very cozy.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you got
couldn't
the
even
right
be-
color bandana to match the
yeah,
the P on the symbol.
Yep.
Chad came prepared for a What's Playing episode. He loves What's Playing episodes.
I do. My favorite.
Mike is also playing some other games on the PC. South Park: The Stick of Truth. That'll
Great
be
game.
up on Showboy's Gaming YouTube channel eventually, once he finishes that playthrough. And of course, Valheim, always playing that just kind of in the background. He's also playing Pokemon Quest on mobile. There has to be a Pokemon game somewhere in Mike's
Somewhere.
rotation. There's
Yeah, of
no way you
course.
can get away from a Pokemon game. I'm not even going to attempt to understand what Pokemon Quest is. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
these days when it comes to
Right.
Pokemon games.
Yeah.
And as a bonus part to tonight's Answer the Boys, I also asked what people are excited to play. He's excited to play Cult of the Lamb, Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, Iron Tails. I know what that is. And whatever that dice game Ugly Kid Joe Cross recently streamed and beat. Joe, you should pop the answer to that question in chat. We can know what that game is because Mike couldn't remember the name of it. But yeah, that was Mike and Dad the Caps Answer the Boys.
Looks like
And-
Lost in Random, maybe.
Oh yeah,
think
Lost
he-
in Random.
he
He
answered
answered it in there. Lost in Random. Oh, I think I know what they're talking about. That did look very random. I watched Joe play that for like 30 minutes. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
"This
what it
looks
is. Lost in
intense."
Random.
It
It looks
actually
kind of
looks
cool.
very cool.
Yeah,
It
it does. It's got really good reviews too.
Reminds me of a Elephant's Dream short that came out like, I don't know, 15 years ago. It's like
Yeah.
the first fully animated something like short. Maybe even longer than that ago. Great game, Joe says. Great game. It looked good. I'll have to find that. It has to be on Steam, I imagine. Seems like a Steam game to
Yeah,
me.
it's on Steam because there was a review on it for Steam.
Perfect. Well, tonight, not really gaming related, but I did want to highlight some things that have happened in the Disney Plus world because that was today. They had Disney Plus Day today.
Yeah.
Um, and not anything like groundbreaking. And actually, not anything I'm going to like jump and watch. There's one thing we've already watched, but it's my son's fault. And that would be Cars on the Road. We already watched all 8 episodes, but it's like it says 20 minutes, but you know they have to have 7 minutes of credits in every language on Disney Plus.
Oh
So
yeah, that's annoying.
it's like a 10-minute episode, and then they have 10 minutes of credits. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But little things. I thought the most interesting thing, not that I'm going to watch it necessarily, because this kind of is what House of the Dragon's trying to do to me. It's a 9-minute like teaser for Andor, only on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And they show like a whole scene, and it just
seems not really needed because that's coming out like next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I think they just kind of packaged up some material and was like, we got to release
I mean,
something.
I will say that back in the day, when the Dawn of the Dead remake came out, they put the first 10 minutes of the movie like on cable television one night. It was before it released in theaters. They put the first 10 minutes on, and let me tell you, it made me go to the theater to watch it because the first 10 minutes of that movie is pretty crazy. So, I mean, maybe that's the plan. I can't imagine they don't think that there's a lot of hype around Andor already, that they need to put out like a teaser to try and pull people in already. That seems odd and worrisome.
Maybe they're just doubling down and trying to be like, this is better than everything else we put out so far.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And like shift the narrative there in terms of like the vibe.
Yeah.
Darken it up a little bit. It'll be like, this is like the last episode of Obi-Wan, all the way through. So, and it's not the Book of Boba Fett. Maybe they're just trying to like really cement that into people's heads. Especially when they had the little AK-47 blip. That could have made people like you, Chad, be like, I'm going to wait a year before I even watch it.
Yeah.
Because the prop department's sleeping over there.
Right.
Some other things that are worth noting. Thor, Love and Thunder is out there now on there to stream. So that's cool. That adds I'm proud of my Marvel movie keep up. I've watched Multiverse of Madness the other week, so I was happy.
Yeah, this is really good, man.
Yeah, I was really happy with that movie. So I kind of like this cadence I have going here, where I just watch their movies like every 3 months.
Yeah,
as they come out on Disney Plus. I'm happy with that. The trailer for Pinocchio. They have a ton of like weird. They keep doing this thing where they're releasing like lots of behind the scenes and like adjacent featurettes with like
that's like
different things.
You know what that is? That's, hey, we don't really have anything to announce, so let's just announce the stuff that let's talk about the stuff that we already announced that's coming relatively quickly.
Yeah, and I want to say this about Andor. I think the reason like they probably felt the need to really squeeze out that Andor thing is there so far has been no mention of like a Mando trailer or teaser, and that's supposed to be coming out soonish.
Yeah. You would think you would have got something on that today.
Yeah, so that was what a lot of people were hoping for, with some sort of sign of Mando season 3, but nothing. And I think that earlier this summer there was like a very poor quality leak of some teaser stuff on that came out, and they were thinking like, oh, they'll release like the official version of that. Nothing. Same thing with like Star Wars Day. They also had nothing. So this was kind of like the last checkpoint for some Mando stuff, unless they're gonna do like not a Super Bowl, like something around like Christmas. I don't know. Maybe a Thanksgiving parade day. Like I don't know. Like there's no sign of Mando. So I don't know if that's concerning or not for people.
Yeah, we do. We need to be on top of it because I think tomorrow is the Disney and Marvel Games showcase. Tomorrow at 1.
Mm.
Pacific time, maybe. It's either
Maybe we're
1 our
getting a
time or
Mando
1
game.
Pacific time. I have some hopes for what we're gonna see. I hope that we're going to see the Amy Hennig's Marvel game that she's supposedly working on. She's the director for the first 3 Uncharted games. Hopefully we get to see what it is. I was guessing that it was Daredevil, but it now seems like it's an ensemble game of Marvel characters, which sounds maybe terrible. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm definitely going to tune into that. I think it's I'll look up the time. It's either 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of wanted to maybe do a live stream of that tomorrow and watch along with it.
That'd be cool.
So we'll see how that pans out. I don't know that we can talk about that off air, but I'm excited for it because I want to see what Marvel's got coming out, and I'm hopeful, even though I'm sure we're not going to get anything on it. I would like to see something on Spider-Man 2. I think that's probably going to be saved for a PlayStation showcase that is allegedly coming at some point here soon.
Yeah.
It was supposed to happen in August, didn't happen. So,
hey, they don't want to come empty-handed. They don't want to do that to you.
Yeah, and I don't want them to do that because they've done that the past couple times, really. I mean, not really. Last one they showed, I think, Resident Evil 4 remake. So they didn't come completely empty-handed, but I want Spider-Man 2. Give me something to bite on.
At least once a year they have a really good one. I think that's what's important. They have the kind of the floppers in between.
Yeah, and if you're going to bail on E3 every year, you best put a showcase out in the summertime. You know what I mean?
Everyone should bail on E3, and just E3 should show up and be like, well,
we got nothing to announce.
Yeah, I guess we should start making games.
I think if you want to go against the grain, you need to fall into that role. You know what I mean? People want their gaming news in the summertime. That's when we get most of it. So if you're going to bail, you need to have something at least the week of E3, week after, week before, something.
Yeah.
Not September, a little late. But maybe they weren't counting on it because E3 didn't happen this year. So
they trick you. There's hey, next year, here's what's going to happen. So every other year, Sony actually has something to show.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think there are some other just things that people felt missing, like a full trailer for Wakanda Forever, some Star Wars Ahsoka, Ant-Man 3. So I don't know if they're completely done with the Disney those kind of reveals, but
it doesn't look like it because that thing you would assume that Disney video game thing is tomorrow, so it's maybe going through the weekend. Who knows?
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, and the last thing that they did though reveal today was Lego. Throw it up on the screen, a full $300 T'Challa bust.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's life size.
Yeah.
So that's as big as your head, Chad.
Yeah, that's cool. Dig it.
So yeah, that's pretty neat. Very, very good design there. So that was the big reveal today in the Lego world when it comes to Disney. Is the full scale T'Challa bust.
Nice. If only it wasn't hundreds of dollars.
That's just kind of the thing now.
Yeah.
In the past, basically right up to before the pandemic, it was still kind of low key how valuable Legos are. The fact that they don't depreciate in value, and then ever since 2020 and forward, everyone's on to the fact that they don't depreciate. So
yeah,
they never go on sale, very rarely, and not by that much. The shelves get cleaned out, and everything gets bought regardless of the price, really. So it's a crazy racket. And then as soon as Lego stops making a set, it just appreciates in value right after that.
Oh, really?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They instantly start going up.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it because I've bought a colossal amount of Marvel Legends figures, right? And some of those get ridiculous after like a year, maybe
Yep.
even less time of being on the market. And it really agitates me because I have a really bad habit of not buying things when I see them in store and then regretting it later when I
Yep.
can't find them in stores and they're hundreds of dollars. So, it's a fine line for me to walk there because I feel like I should just buy everything I want right when I see it because eventually I'm going to want it and I'm not
That's
going
my
to be able
problem
to
with
find it
Lego.
for a reasonable price,
It's hard. That's my problem I have
Yeah.
with Lego. Like, it's just like, I might as well just buy it because worst case is like I don't open it and 2 years later I could just sell it
Yeah.
for double the price I paid for it. It just,
Right.
I don't know. It's just at some point it's just like duh. But
Yeah.
that's how people kind of get into like the buy sell trade game with like Lego and collectibles in general. Before you know it, you have
Yeah.
like a whole rotation going where you're buying, selling.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. But the scalpers are what annoy the crap out of me. Like
Oh yeah.
when a figure comes out and I'm there day of and they're all sold out because some douchebag came in and bought the entire thing to sell on eBay.
Yep.
Meanwhile, my kid's like, "Oh, I really wanted that figure, but I guess this nerd bought it from out under
Yeah.
us to sell on eBay for twice the price." That crap really annoys me, but you can't get around it,
Can't you just wait till like is that just a supply thing or is it like legit they're done making them? Because like Lego,
Yeah,
sometimes they get in a pinch and they just don't have enough to meet demand when it comes out. But eventually, like months or even a year later, there will be the appropriate amount out there to where there's enough for people to get.
yeah, I think so. With Legends specifically, they have a really bad habit of doing uh, vendor exclusive figures. So they'll have like Target will have exclusive figures. Walmart will have exclusive figures. For a long time, I don't know if they're still doing it. Walgreens actually got exclusive
Wow.
figures. The problem with that is that Walgreens certainly does not keep up their stock of Marvel Legends figures. So if that
Yeah.
figure that you want is exclusive to Walgreens, there is practically zero chance that you're going to get it today, at least. In 2022, maybe a couple years ago when they actually kept stock in that stuff,
Yeah.
you would find them. But that combined with there just doesn't seem to be a lot of certain figures that come out, and I don't know what if it's a supply issue, if it's a manufacturing issue, if it's a
Mhm.
popularity issue, and people are just buying them as soon as they go up on the rack. But you can go look at the Marvel Legends sections at right now. You can go to Target, Walmart, Books a Million. They'll practically have all the figures that don't sell, and they're all the same, right? So I
So
don't
I
know.
mean,
It's a pain to find the one that you're going for. That's why I typically try to pre-order them, but like I'm sure you can pre-order them at Target. Prime example is GameStop just got Mr. Negative, which I've been waiting for literal since the 2018 Spider-Man came out. Finally, it's here, 2022. They revealed it, and it's a GameStop exclusive, so I have to go in there and pre-order it. GameStop's really good with their pre-orders. I've never had any issue, but other retailers seem to not have it down on the figures for whatever reason. They'll cancel your pre-orders, that kind of stuff. So it's just moving to as much as I hate it because I like physical stores, I like going and getting something and bringing it home. Really, the best way to get Legends figures now is online. It's no doubt. You can go to big bad toy stores or something like that and pre-order whatever the heck you're looking for. Hasbro has a website called Hasbro Pulse that also has exclusive figures on there, and they seem to have a much higher stock of pre-orders, obviously because it's coming straight from Hasbro. So it's annoying
so you
because
can't get like if you're willing to spend the money, you can get the ones you want
if
at
you're
like
willing to spend the money.
MSRP.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Like
yeah,
what they're
theoretically, yes. Yeah, you could.
okay.
But it's vastly depending on the figure, how they
Okay.
see it being popular because they might not make that money. Like some figures, Target's like 30 of them, and then they end up not selling, and then every time you go there, it's the same 30 figures that nobody's buying, and then
They probably have
they'll put out like a Spider-Man wave and they're gone as soon as they hit the rack. So
Yeah.
I'm not seeing enough evidence to see if it's a supply issue, they're not giving enough, or it's just people are just scalping them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder if it's just like harder for them to really tell truly like what's going to be the popular figure.
I
Because
mean, I
Lego has a
can't
ton of
imagine.
visibility into that from like the general community. Because if you want a Lego set that comes out, there's no way, if you're willing to wait, one, two, willing to just buy it right while Lego is making it, you will get it for what the MSR proper price is without being
Yeah,
scalped. Like
yeah,
obviously there's scalpers when there's a pinch in supply at the beginning, but other than that, like they make them for long enough. They also will keep making them so long as they keep getting back ordered and ordered. But then like they wait a good year until they see it taper off, then they will discontinue a set.
yeah. I mean, you can do that same thing on like here. You can get pretty much anything you want on Hasbro Pulse if you pre-order it, right? But some of these
Mm.
pre-orders, like they did the 3 Spider-Men from the new Spider-Man movie, the pre-order for that, like it's going to be like 6 months till you get it. You know what I mean? Sometimes maybe even longer. So I just have a hard time like pre-ordering something that I'm not going to get for an excessive amount of time. I'd rather just take my
Right.
chances and bitch about it later. But the thing about that set specifically is it's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive,
Hmm.
and the exclusives for that website sell out in the pre-orders. And you got to be like on top, like they do a fan first Friday thing or whatever, maybe once a month, once every
It's
couple
work.
months, where they reveal new figures and then they go up like an hour later, 2 hours later. If you're not there for some of these figures, they're gone. And
Yeah.
you have no chance of finding them in a store because they're Hasbro Pulse exclusive. So you're going to have to get them off the website at some point. So
There's extra effort, basically, is what you're saying
yeah,
to
there's
play the
definitely
game.
extra effort, and it annoys me because that set specifically, for whatever reason, Hasbro puts a lot more effort into the comic versions of the figures versus the MCU version of the figures. So, like the MCU Spider Man, it just had the lines aren't painted on the figure, it's just like indents to show the lines. It looks like trash. It looks like a $2 figure you get at, you know, Big Lots.
Yeah.
So what
Knockoff.
really annoys me is they finally listened to everybody complaining about how little effort they put into the MCU figures and made these new Spider-Man figures look really good. And then they make it a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. It's like, come on, man. Like you've been putting out these MCU Spider-Man since far our Homecoming, and they've all been trash. And now you finally get good ones and you lock it behind your Hasbro Pulse. That annoys me.
Jerks.
Yeah, super annoying.
Jerks. Hey, well, well, I guess that doesn't help with the exclusives, but Sir Troy's are going to be in a huge
Dude, yeah,
location soon. I
and
think
they
this
have
week is the
stepped
last
up.
week in North Canton,
Oh,
and
is it? Dang.
then they're hoping to be able to open the new one by the end of the month. So that'll be in the old Marks.
Yeah,
It was a discount outlet for a while, but that's a huge space.
huge space.
And
Yeah,
it's right in
and
there with the exchange. Like it's a
yeah,
good
it's
little plaza there now.
prime plaza to be in. Yeah, and they really, like I said, man, they really like a year ago, they didn't even have Marvel Legends figures. It was
No,
primarily Lego and like what they have now,
yeah,
but that's all they had. They had no action figures whatsoever. And I
their
think I went
board
there like
games.
board games. Yeah. What was it? There was another store that was there.
They're
Treehouse
trending.
Toys. Do you
Maybe
remember Treehouse Toys when we were younger? It was in that plaza, much smaller, maybe a quarter of the size of
mm.
Sir Troy's, but they had a lot of the same kind of toys.
Yeah,
Um,
they're kind of moving in the direction of just being like the local Northeast Ohio Toys R Us because
yeah,
they just got in like summer like Nerf like all that kind of crap. So they're definitely just slowly just like buying more and more crap as the
yeah,
like people just know to go there when they want to go physically shop for toys and
yeah,
stuff.
and I definitely have gone there far more now that I know that they stepped their action figure game up, because that's really all that we buy our action figures toy wise for the most part now. So I used to go to Toys That Time Forgot, but that's just such a long hike out there to Canal Fulton, you know what I mean, to
Yep.
walk around the store, and their prices are a little absurd sometimes. So it's cool that this place is right around the corner. Now it's moving a little further up the corner, but
You can't walk there anymore, Chad.
yeah, definitely can't walk there anymore. But yeah, I was super excited because I came in, went in there like maybe 6 months ago, and they had the new Marvel Legends Spider-Man retro card,
Hmm.
the entire lot of them. So I was like, oh, dude, that's exciting because if I don't know if they're just doing the retro cards or if they're going to do them all, but clearly they're going to do them all because they had an entire aisle of them last time I went. So that's super exciting. I'm still hunting down a couple figures. I'm hoping that they'll get them eventually. I have practically every Spider-Man villain except for Rhino, which is like a glaring hole in my Spider-Man Rogues gallery that I don't have.
Even I know that.
Right. And I have a Rhino, but it's not a Marvel Legends, and he's like super loose and it's just chintzy. So they came out with a retro carded Rhino that looks really cool, but I can't freaking find it anywhere. So
Just hoping you'll find it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what's the second bit of news you have? The Chad news.
My Chad news, which you already know.
I do.
But the world doesn't, and that is I officially have bought a Steam Deck. It should be here tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, super excited. I pre-ordered this thing a long time ago.
Can I borrow
maybe a year? No, definitely not. So my buddy at work got one. I pre-ordered it for him and bought it for him, and then he paid me back for it. And when I think maybe when his came and I saw how cool it was, I pre-ordered it. So it was like literally like maybe last winter I pre-ordered it. I have to look at the date, but I finally got the email. Almost missed it. So I hate the way that they do it. And I get that maybe it's a practical way of doing it, but you put a $5 deposit down, which is cool. I like that form of pre-ordering. I don't like paying the whole thing when I pre-order it. That annoys me. But then even though you pay that $5 and you pre-ordered it, whenever it's available, they send you an email to complete your purchase, and you have 48 hours to complete your purchase. Dang. If you don't complete it in 48 hours, that's it. It's canceled. You get your $5 back.
What?
So
I figure at least like you'd get kicked back like in the line, like different place, and I can't believe they cancel it.
So that was very stressful when we were doing his because he really wanted it. Like he was texting me every day, like, "Hey, you get an email yet? You get an email yet?" For like 6 months, literally. I'm like, "No, dude, didn't." And finally, it came. But it's very stressful to keep up with that because like inboxes nowadays, my inbox has like 600 emails in it. Like it's just a lost cause diving in there trying to find a single email. So I was able to
put it up for a giveaway item.
Yeah, totally. I might end up not liking it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a PC gamer. And anytime that I try to game on the PC, it just absolutely ruins any kind of experience that I have on PC.
Yeah, so, but I think this will be good for you because you can play those games on the Steam Deck, and I think that might be a better median for you than like sitting at a computer.
Absolutely, I agree. And the primary reason. So let me get back to so I got the email, okay?
Yeah.
And I got it Monday, which was Labor Day. So like Tuesday night, I was like, I should probably check because they said September. And it was in there, like, complete your purchase. Like, gee, I can't believe, A, they sent it on a holiday. And B, like, 48 hours is just way too quick, bro. Like, that's stressful. But I completed the purchase. Unfortunately, it was supposed to get here today. I was hoping to have it for tonight. Don't talk shit about the Vita. The Vita is a fantastic handheld.
Ugly Kid Joe Cross says it's got to be better than the Vita.
The Vita is fantastic. I'll fight to the death for that.
But net like 15 years later, like it's gonna be better.
Oh right? Yeah, it's dead. Yeah, the Vita's dead. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. Okay, so the reason that I love the Vita so much is because I played Persona 4 Golden on it, which ended up being one of my favorite games of all time. like a huge 100-hour JRPG. The reason I got the Steam Deck is because if you remember when we pitched remake games on here, I pitched a Persona 3 remake, taking both of the games that are out for that, Portable and Fez, and putting them together. Because in the original, you can't control your party. And in Portable, they took out all the cutscenes and explorable areas, and it's really just static screens. I literally just bought a Steam Deck to emulate Persona 3 Fez so I can finally freaking play this game on a handheld and complete my goal, because they're not going to give it to me, clearly, because they announced that Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 are coming to the Switch. Why would they put Persona Portable is not the game that needs to come to modern consoles. It's Fez. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to play Portable. It's literally a portable version of the original game. Now, I heard it was because you can control your party, and I'll admit, in JRPGs, that's kind of a huge deal to be able to control everybody in your party, not just having the AI make decisions. But it's not worth everything that you're giving up in the original Persona 3 Fez, or Persona 3 period. So I looked to see if you could put emulators on the Steam Deck, and there is a huge community of people that are emulating off the Steam Deck. So I'm, for the time being, probably, because I don't have any Steam games, I maybe have like a couple. It's going to be straight emulation for me on the Steam Deck. So
that's wild.
Yeah.
I really just want one to play Valheim anywhere I go.
Yeah, dude, I got to be honest with you, man. Like, I've seen videos. Another one that I'm definitely eyeing is The Witcher 3 on there, because they've got it running 60 FPS on this Steam Deck. So multiple games are running 60 FPS on this thing. So I'm super excited. It's excessively large. Like, it's well out of the realm of a handheld. Like, it's much bigger than the Switch. It's
like laying in bed, sitting on the couch.
Right. Yep.
See, if I got one, I would probably tap into a ton of games that I purchased on Steam, but like never played on Steam, just because either I consider them more console games and I wish I bought them on the console, or they're just games that like I'm not gonna sit at my desk and play. So yeah, I'll probably eventually get one. Eventually.
Yeah. So the thing that's really cool for me, at least, about the Steam Deck is that the Steam library is massive. So there's a lot of old games on there. Old games, that you can't get on console anymore. Old games that run far better on PC than they do on console now. So that's The Witcher 3 is a prime example of that. I just downloaded The Witcher 3 and played a couple hours of it on the PS5. It runs at 30 FPS, and it's just jarring, dude. It's jarring. It is what it is. I can't adjust to going back to 30 FPS after playing 60. I know that it's like,
I want you to play Spider-Man on 30 FPS.
I did play Spider-Man.
That
when I did
the want to throw up though.
Yeah, when I did the stream of Spider-Man, that was at 30 FPS. But it's really, at the end of the day, it takes like maybe an hour to readjust to it, and then it really looks no different. But it's a miserable hour for me to get through, because it just makes me super nauseous and gives me a crushing headache. But
right.
Spider-Man is verified on the Steam Deck as well. So I don't know, man. Like, if we're talking, I can play Elden Ring on the Steam Deck, verified. I can play Sekiro on the Steam Deck, verified. Ghost of Tsushima, it's not to Steam yet, but you can play it with the PlayStation Plus app and stream it.
Oh, that's crazy.
You can do Xbox Game Pass streaming games from there, dude. It is a probably pound for pound, currently dollar for dollar, the best console, because of the mass amount of stuff that you can play on it. And it runs it really well. Like, we're not talking like, yeah, it's a handheld like the Switch. Yeah, it's a handheld, but it runs not very high fidelity games, right?
They need to add So you know how in Steam, basically when you in your library, they have like all the icons for single player, multiplayer, controller support, all that stuff. They need to add an icon up there for Steam Deck Verified.
Yeah,
You have to go to the store page to see that.
there's a list of them. So the way that I understand it is there's a list of verified games, there's a list of playable games, there's a
Hmm.
list of
Right.
unknown, and then unsupported. And from what I hear, like even some of the unsupported games play just fine on it. But the way that the verified works is they want you to be able to download the game, start it up, and have no issues. So if
Right.
you don't have to go in and tinker in any of the settings, nothing. So if you like download Madden and you have to sign into EA, but you have to like hook a keyboard up to it because of something funky, then it's not verified. Even though it probably is going to play just fine when you do that. So I think the list of verified games looks small, but if it's running some of those games on there, I almost guarantee you it's going to run almost anything. It's Elden Ring is verified. A huge, massive, massive open world game is verified on Steam Deck.
Right.
So
Lord of the Rings Online is playable. There's lots of
yeah,
playable games.
yeah, and those were like I can't remember what the playable ones mean, but literally like there's a whole like Reddit thing devoted to games that run on it that aren't verified yet.
Yeah.
Arkham City, I think, was unverified for the longest time, unplayable or unknown or whatever they called it, and it got verified. So I, because I never played Arkham City, so there's a lot to be excited about. I do have to get myself an SD card, and let me tell you, wow, didn't realize how expensive those things were.
Yeah,
If you want to get
aren't
like a
they?
1 terabyte.
But that's the other thing. Like the SD cards are 1 terabyte. The last time you bought an SD card, how big were they?
Yeah, gigs. Yeah,
Yeah,
made it like a gig. It was like, whoa, yeah, that's the high dollar one. So I'll probably end up just getting a cheaper one. I don't have any issue with deleting games, so it doesn't make that big of a difference to me if I have to delete games to download it. So I'm not gonna probably get a terabyte because they're like $200. That's like almost doubles the price of
yeah.
the Steam Deck itself.
Everything will Steam Cloud save. If it's a Steam game, it'll save to the Steam Cloud, so you don't gotta worry about your save file. So you can just freely download and delete at least
Yeah.
the Steam games. Your emulators, you might run into trouble if you're.
So the video that I watched a video of today of somebody putting on PCX2 or whatever, PXCS2, whatever the PlayStation 2 emulator is, and you can actually migrate the catalog into Steam, which is super cool. So you just download the games,
Yeah,
the games into that, and then you can move it over to the Steam library, which is super cool. So yeah, I got a lot of tinkering to do. I know that there's a lot of stuff that you have to tinker to get everything running good from what I've heard of people that have it.
I just like
But
how open ended the platform is.
dude,
Like that's
it's
so nice
yeah.
that they do that.
I mean, it's running like Linux, I think. So it's
Yeah,
it's just a PC. Like
yeah. It's just a
that's the coolest
handheld
thing about it.
PC.
It's a handheld PC. And that's like my jam, dude, because normally when I play PC, and it might happen here because I am playing PC games, but normally if I sit down to play a PC game, I spend 80% of my time trying to get the game to look and run perfectly. And 10%, I'd spend all that time and then I'm like, I don't even want to play it anymore. Like it's running great, but
Just
I'm
turn everything all the way up.
yeah. So there are like yeah, man, I'm just excited. I'm excited. There's a lot of games that
That's
I want to
exciting.
play that I can't get a hold of, and it has to be Persona 3 Fez first for me because I've been waiting for that game for literal years. Like
I
almost
definitely will want to.
a
I
decade.
definitely will want to physically see it because it just sounds cool. It's kind of like seeing a PlayStation 5 for the first time. Like, just
Yeah.
what is it? Look and feel like what's the
Yeah, it's
vibe
huge,
it
man.
gives
It's
off.
big. I mean,
Um,
it absolutely dwarfs the Switch. It's massive.
Good. Twitch's a little small.
Yeah.
Twitch too small. Nice. I mean, I also saw that in Australia they have them. I think just Australia right now has them, but the 1200 model of the PlayStation 5. So this will be like the third edition of the PlayStation
I
5.
think I heard about it. Yeah.
They did. I think last year they did something stupid where they made it lighter, but they did that by making the heatsink smaller and taking out like some important things.
Yeah.
I want to check and see if I have that one or not. I probably do.
You probably
Um,
don't know because you got it relatively close to launch, didn't you?
um,
Because that
I guess
wasn't until you got it in the first year, I think, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you
I
probably
got it.
still have the
And yeah,
OG.
but so this one, it's lighter, but it has like the heatsink added back on, and you can like see the copper in there too. So like definitely it seems upgraded and is much better at cooling.
Yeah.
And like they just kind of rebuilt the inside by a bunch and also made it significantly lighter, which I don't know why a console has to be lighter or heavier. I guess some people travel
I
with them,
haven't.
but
Yeah, that's odd, but
um,
I haven't touched
mine
mine since
doesn't move.
mine doesn't either. Yeah.
Never shall it. It should
Yeah.
sit right where it stays.
I think the Steam Deck is going to take place of the traveling companion when I go to the fire department. Like I don't know why I'd bring my PlayStation, but dude, I just like got super excited because I realized even though I read it the other day that Sekiro is verified on there. Like that's where I'm going to play Sekiro next. Like a handheld Sekiro, I'm in.
Everywhere,
I'm
everywhere.
also curious because I assume that you can mod as well because it is just a PC, so you could probably put mods on. I would imagine.
Well, if the Steam Workshop is available for a game and there's mods through the Steam, definitely you can do that.
Yeah, I
But
almost
since you
guarantee
can
it.
emulate, I really imagine you can do anything you can. If people have emulators on there, people are going to figure out how to install custom mods um,
Yeah,
for whatever you want.
right.
Here's a fun tidbit. Little kid Joe Cross still has his PS4 that he got on release night, and he believes he was with you, Chad.
I definitely was, and I still have a picture of you from that night as well, wearing a Wolverine hoodie. Yeah, try and find it.
Dang.
Yeah, try and find it, and we'll slap it up on the screen.
I remember getting Gears of War 2 when that came out, like on release night. It was like a Black Friday, even, I think, or something like that. And then,
That's
like,
the other thing, dude, because there's a lot of Xbox games that I have not played because I don't own an Xbox, and a lot of them are probably on Steam, if not all of them, right? Because they're
yeah, over the years, they've definitely been good about just getting things out to PC. Um, I don't know about some of like the real deep exclusives like Gears of War and stuff, but well, I mean, Halo's all on there.
yeah, I was gonna
Halo's all on
say
Steam.
I'm pretty sure that stuff's all on there.
So yeah, you might have a whole new world of games to break into, Chad.
I do, man. I'm excited. It
You,
just it does annoy me a little bit because like Sekiro's $60 still on Steam. I know they put on sales a lot, so I'm hoping that will.
that one goes on, I think, a fairly deep discount when it does go on sale. So there are ones though that annoy me where they go on like a 10% discount. And that's all I ever
Yeah,
see. And it's just so annoying.
but
Be
it's
like,
like
70% discount.
right,
Then I'll
but it's
buy it.
almost like how I paid full price for Ghost of Tsushima again. It's just like the experience, man. Like of playing Sekiro on the handheld. It's worth the $60 for me probably. But I'm gonna have
Yep.
my hands completely full with Persona 3
Yeah.
for the first while.
Yeah. Well, good knowing you. Good
Yeah, you
good
never hear
having you
from
on the
me again.
show.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, I found
make
it.
make time for your family, make time for the pod, but good knowing you.
If
Make sure you go to
I
work.
send you this picture, can you slap it up on the screen?
Yeah, I can. And while we're where we're at, Ugly Kid Joe Cross, he did submit what he's been playing and he is excited to play. And he's currently playing Tower Fantasy on mobile/PC, Disney Dreamlight Valley on PC, Brawl Stars on mobile, Pokemon Sword on Switch, Valheim on the PC, and Flesh and Blood TCG. So
Yeah.
I, outside of Valheim, like a lot of that's just very foreign to me. Um,
Yeah,
they
I
sound
don't know
fun
that I've
though.
heard too much of
Flesh
it.
and Blood,
Yeah.
like that's the most rowdy one on there. He's got Disney Dreamlight Valley, but then he has Flesh and Blood. I like that dichotomy
Yeah.
there. And he's
Yeah, I'm
excited for Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Skull and Bones, which a
Skull and
lot of people
Bones
are
looks,
excited for.
yeah, I'm pretty excited for Skull and Bones. I did read an article of a developer saying that it's not very deep, which is a little concerning that the developers, one of the developers is saying that. So we'll
Yikes.
see. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be too deep because it is kind of like I don't want to call it a spin-off to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but that's where it came from. Like they wanted to make a standalone game. It's just been an excessive amount of time they've been working on this game, obviously. But yeah, I thought the gameplay looked really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I imagine you can if it's if it's in Steam, then it's just weird that you could be playing on the Steam Deck and I could be playing at my PC.
Right. Yeah.
Such a crazy
Definitely.
world.
Yeah,
He's
for
also
sure.
excited for Slime Rancher too. That sounds fun. And he wants to say Flesh and Blood is a trading card game, and I think that acronym did escape me. I'm glad he
Oh yeah.
clarified that.
Yeah, you did I think we talked about that on one of the episodes you were on, Joe.
Oh, that's
Can't remember
probably the
what
he
episode.
was on the last What's Playing.
Was he?
I thought he was.
Dang, it
I
is
thought it
that
said
long ago?
featuring Ugly Kid Joe Cross. I was in our content recently, just kind of going through some stuff, and
Yeah.
that was it's. Game of Thrones sucked up a lot of the summer, Chad.
It did. It did.
It really put some space between like past
Yeah,
episodes.
it really did. Yeah.
Um, did you sent that?
Yeah, I texted it to you.
Oh, this is a good one. Hold on.
Yeah, we gotta get this up on the screen because this is the exact night that he is talking about. So we went to the release of the PS4 to the GameStop over by Kohl's in Canton, and this was our little.
All right,
Can't remember if
here we go.
we went to Walmart. I think this is Walmart. Yeah. There's Joey wearing his little Wolverine hoodie from that night.
Ugly
I don't know
Kid
what we were
Joe
doing.
Cross.
I think we were just hanging
What
out
year was
while we were
this?
waiting till midnight. 2014 maybe. I think that's when the
Man,
PS4
that's
released. 2014.
that's his little eye. I see it in that little
Yep.
cutout. That's definitely Ugly
Yep.
Kid Joe
That's him.
Cross.
You should have bought that
Look at
hoodie.
that.
You're rocking it. You're rocking it.
He should have bought it, and then he could be wearing it on one of his streams.
Yeah.
Man, look at that.
Yeah, man. It was a fun
that's
night.
a throwback Thursday. Probably wasn't Thursday, but
No.
classic.
Actually, it might have
Very
been Thursday because I think the
Friday
console's
release.
released on Fridays. Yeah. I'll look up
Yeah, if you're
the release date of the PS4, see what date it was.
back when Walmart was remotely cool.
Yeah. And I don't know how we ended up all the way over at Walmart because it's not, I mean, it's right up the road, but it's not like, I don't know why we didn't just go to Target, which is in the same plaza, but
In Belden?
in Belden, yeah.
Yeah, they're two technically different plazas. But yeah, they're right up the street from each other. So maybe Target looked too busy. Maybe you guys were in the low key.
Yeah.
And that Target, that Walmart's kind of low key because it's like half a Walmart, I feel like.
Right. Yeah, it's not as big as the super centers or whatever. So I was wrong. 2013 is when the November 15th of 2013. So I was 1 year off, which is really weird because it says on here that the PlayStation released in Japan. PlayStation 4 released in Japan in February of 2014. So it released in North America before Japan, which is kind of odd. Right?
That happens.
But with a Japanese company?
Yeah,
it seems odd though. All right, let me look up and see what day this is.
We probably have the stronger market, if you got a pump out cells. Maybe they have different, they have different types of plugs in different countries. Maybe there's like they couldn't like figure out the power supply yet. I don't know.
The 15th was a Friday. So it was Thursday.
Boom.
Thursday night, we were hanging out.
Throwback
waiting
Thursday.
For that midnight release.
he was so happy in that picture.
Yeah. Yeah, we were having a good time, man. We always had, dude, I've got great freaking stories of midnight releases with Joe. Like, there's always some story behind our midnight releases. Like, we had a good freaking time. Every Call of Duty we went to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get him on here and talk about them because some of them are pretty entertaining.
Yeah, what would that topic be? That topic would be like
GameStop at the Strip rip. Did they go out of business? I don't think they did.
No, they're still there.
Yeah, they're still there.
No, I think he was talking about something else you mentioned.
No, I'm almost 100% positive that we got the PS4 at the one over by Target and Kohl's, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare like 2 or something. We were at a couple midnight releases at the Strip, but they were games. I'm almost 100% positive because we sat in your car right in front of Dick's, hanging out waiting for the release.
Those GameStops are so close in proximity. Like they're a 2-minute drive from each other. That's so weird.
Yeah, it's really odd. Yeah.
And then there's the exchange. And then there's the exchange. Like,
yeah,
there's lots of spots to stop for the games around here.
Yeah, and it's annoying because, like, especially for the exchange, like those two GameStops are largely the same, right? Size wise and amount of stuff that they're selling. The exchange on Cleveland Avenue versus the exchange in Belden Village is almost like the one in Belden Village is maybe a quarter of the size of the one on Cleveland Avenue. So
but it's so funny because the one in Belden looks like it would be bigger because the one on Cleveland Avenue is so unassuming, like the way that building sits. And you walk in there and it's just like massive.
Yeah. Do you remember Babbage's in the mall in Belden Village Mall? So Babbage's was like, it might have been a competitor to GameStop, and then GameStop ended up buying them. But that's where I got literally all my games when I was a kid, was at that Babbage's in Belden. And it's no longer there. The space is not even there anymore, which is totally a bummer. It's like totally remodeled, made to something else. Obviously, it's been like 20-something years, but I used to just stop in whatever was there now was like a lotion place, just to like be nostalgic of the shelves because they didn't change the shelves or anything. But dude,
you're just like that place. Walking through, just touching the shelves and the lotion. Just like, oh, I remember.
I remember when there was cool shit here, not lotion. Yeah, I got
anything.
I got so many good memories of that place, dude. That's where I bought like every PlayStation game, every PlayStation 2 game. I found my Wii's there. When I bought the Wii originally, they were super difficult to find. I was able to stumble across them. I just miss that freaking place, man. It wasn't that big, but it was just, back in the day when strategy guides were like a big thing, they had the like bookshelves of strategy guides. It's just, oh God, I miss that place so much.
Yeah.
And I'm always like hunting for like a photo of it. Like somebody's got to have a photo of that place in its prime. You know what I mean? So if this hits the interwebs and you've got a photo of Babbage's back in the early 2000s, send it my way so I can reminisce. So it's starting to fade out of my memory.
Yeah.
What it looked like.
Do you know what Joe's talking about here? Sub fights and tree eating?
Sub fights and tree eating. Yes, these are stories from the midnight releases.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, man.
Getting in fights with subs from the Subway and Walmart, and tree eating. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the best story there.
We'll
save it. We'll save it. Yeah, we'll save it.
Just be like midnight release stories. That's like the whole episode. Biosiv says Babbage's is where I went for my Call of Duty midnight releases. Next door to KB Toys.
Yep.
And the GameStop by that Target used to be
Funko Land. Yes. Yeah, man.
So they just sold straight Funko Pops?
No. It was I I don't know that I shop too much at Funkoland. My mom always took me to Babbage's for whatever reason. I think it was because she wanted to go to the mall, right? So,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
so majority of my stuff was done there. I do actually have really fond memories of Circuit City when it was over there as well. Fond PlayStation 2 memories with that because they had it on demo before it released the PlayStation 2, and they had Madden running. And I
Before
remember
Circuit City got muscled out of
before they just got worked over. Dude, that place sucked, let's be honest. Like even in
Oh, yeah.
even in its heyday, it was nothing compared to Best Buy.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, just that. I mean, dude, I probably went there 3 times a week to play the Madden demo on the PS2 because it was like mind blowing at the time. Like you could see the muscles in their arms and stuff. It was like
and now it
absolutely
just
mind blowing.
looks
And now it's just like over the top, realistic. There's sweat dripping off of them now. So
yeah, it's basically photorealistic.
Yeah, it's it's damn close.
The fans are pretty realistic. Like
yeah.
I
remember like if you just look up images of like PlayStation 1 Madden versus Madden 2001, like side by side comparison, maybe it's not as jarringly realistic as it was back then because of what we have now, but back in the day, dude, that was like holy crap. Like and I remember my buddy and I talking about like I bet one year they're going to add like dirt flying off their feet while they're running. And that was like one of the big things they added in like 07 or 08. So I have very fond Madden memories. Played literally every Madden.
Sounds gotta do it. Well, I would say, Chad, what have you been playing?
I have been playing. You're like breaking up. I don't know what's going on with you, but it was rather entertaining sounding. Chad, what have you been playing? It's just like sped up, but yeah, I've been playing a couple things. Madden obviously is one of them. The new Madden. Brady and I play a franchise together. Typically every year. We started it like a couple years ago. Last year, I think we cranked out like 7 seasons of Madden on the same team together. So I've been playing a lot of Madden with him. I always make myself quarterback, him running back, and my youngest son wide receiver. And unfortunately, this year his flag football team is named the Raiders. We typically play with New England, but he wanted to play with the Raiders, and just I'm not jiving with it, man. Like just not feeling it. We're in the playoffs. We just finished our regular season 15-2. We typically don't lose a game, so that 2 is like jarring that we even lost 1 game, let alone 2. But I think we found our rhythm. There's a little glitchiness to some of the stuff in the new Madden, right? It just came out, but so I've been playing a lot of that, but majority of my time has been sunk into Elden Ring. Finally, I played this game maybe like when we were doing season 1 of Game. Yeah, well, no, it was when we were doing season 1 of Game of Thrones for the podcast. So however long that was, I got it from the library, played a lot of it. I probably played 20 hours of it maybe. And I like got enough to satisfy my curiosity, even though I really harp on how much I love From Software. I'm not the biggest fan of the combat in the Souls games. It's just not my jam, really. Feels kind of like a modern rendition of Castlevania where everything, your character's just like super heavy. He's like 900 pounds and everything's super slow.
You're always like toppling over and like touching the ground and moving. And
So
it's the sliding. It's the
rolling
footwork that makes it. The rolling.
Yeah. So I got enough of it to satisfy my curiosity, returned it to the library, and moved on to other games, Dragon Quest XI, all the games that I played while we were doing the Game of Thrones thing. And I needed something to carry me through House of the Dragon because I really cranked out practically everything that could even be remotely tied to Game of Thrones in some fashion. And Elden Ring seemed like the obvious choice. It's a big game. It will carry me through probably till the end of the series. And George R. Martin did writing on it. So it seems like a practical thing to go and play. So I was like, you know what, whatever. I'll go get it from the library again. I'm not going to buy it. Got it from the library again. And Yeah, I don't know, dude. It just clicked this time. Like I'm having the freaking time of my life all of a sudden. And
Nice.
it's
What are you
weird because
playing?
I
Like a
have yeah, so yeah, I'll explain all that. But I have like a it's weird. I have like a have to take a break from a From Software game to realize how much I love it because the same thing happened with Sekiro where I returned it and then, got it again and ended up loving it. And that's kind of the path I think I'm on with this. It's it is kind of a mixed bag for me though because it's not like as polished as every other From Software game to date has been.
hmm,
There's a lot of like popping in the graphics. There's a lot of huge dips in the performance. Like I'm running performance mode, which is 60 FPS, and then there are times where it's dipping probably below like 40 into the 30s in certain areas. But all of that's overshadowed by just how great everything else is in the game. The one thing that Sekiro does not have compared to the Dark Souls franchise is the amount of customization for your character as far as weapon types and different skills and all kinds of stuff that you can get. That you could endlessly play this game a different class every time you play it and you'll
right.
never go through all of them. So I started out originally rocking like a shield and a sword, which is just feels like for me that's how I like to play Dark Souls. So felt like the right thing to do here. But once I got leveled up a little bit, I swapped over to dual katanas, and I love my
Ooh.
katanas. So I was rocking that for a really really long time. They're super 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 powerful. But I came across, and I didn't even know these were, I think these have been in past Souls games, but I came across a whip. Okay. And I'm like, oh, dude, yeah, I'm totally going to start whipping these dudes, man. Like, this is awesome. So I actually ended up going out and hunting two of the most powerful whips in the game. They're identical. You have to get them from different, quest lines. And I'm rocking dual whips. So the cool thing about Elden Ring is if you rock two weapons in the same hand or in off opposite hands of the same class, you get I think they call it power stancing, where you get an L1 attack that uses both of them. And dude, this freaking whip, man, like it's just I'm absolutely loving it. I'm a huge Castlevania fan. Castlevania Symphony of the Night made my top 5 list when we did that. So, whips are really big in those games. And I'm just this feels like a modern Castlevania game now that I'm whipping these whips around, dude.
Found your groove.
Found my freaking groove. Now, granted, when I put the game back in, and I had a little bit of this issue when I first played Elden Ring. I don't know that From Software's design of game translates very well to an open world. And what
Right.
I mean
Well, that's
by
probably why they
that
have
is
performance issues too. Like
that
they're
well,
just not used to that.
yeah, I mean the game is like
Right.
absolutely absurdly large. And that I'm sure is hurting the performance. They've definitely stepped their game up as far as the size of this game. There are sections that they call legacy dungeons in Elden Ring. I think there's maybe like 7 or 8 of them that could literally be a standalone Dark Souls game. They're that big. So, uh yeah, the game is massive, but what I mean as far as the translation to open world is they don't do like any kind of quest log. They don't do any kind of waypoints. They even in Sekiro, you don't really know what the hell you're supposed to be doing. You're just following the
Right.
path. But in those games, because it's more linear of a fashion, you eventually find where the hell you're supposed to be going, right?
Right.
Same with Dark Souls, same thing. There are some big open areas, but you eventually find where you need to go. There's only a couple ways to progress. Elden Ring is not that way. It's a traditional open world, open map, huge area. And it doesn't, the story is the same thing where it's very like secretive with the way it's telling the story. It's very FromSoft. I mean, you can tell if you didn't know anything about the developer, you would know that this is a FromSoft game because this is what they're known for. They're not known for great storytelling. I think they elevated their storytelling highly in Sekiro with cutscenes and that kind of stuff. And there's some of that in Elden Ring. the main issue that I returned it in the first place is because like I got to a point where it's like I don't even know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. Like, where am I supposed to go? Like, I don't
Where
know
you
what
want?
I don't know what I'm working towards. You know what I
Anything.
mean? Where in Sekiro and Dark Souls, you know where you're gonna go. You know where to go. This, because it's such an open world and there's, you know, those huge legacy dungeons, like 8 of them, and there's a bunch of smaller dungeons as well. You just don't know what I just like got to a point where it's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing right now. So I returned it and I got a little bit of that in the beginning of
Right.
coming back because it's very difficult to leave an RPG and come back months later. It's very difficult because you forget the controls, you forget what was going on, you forget your build, you forget everything. It's very difficult. The only one you can really do that with is The Witcher, and that might be one of the few that you can return to, you know, a year later and you still have a general idea of what's going on.
Yeah, because
But
there's not a lot of diversity in like the
right.
character in The Witcher. There's like
Yeah.
what you stat into, but that doesn't really change
Yeah, it's not
the
going to
fact that you
change
have
that
two
much.
swords and a crossbow and
Right.
all that.
And this is because you're leveling a character and putting points into stats. Like there's just a lot of customization going on in this
Yep.
game. And if you forget what the hell you were building the first time you played it and try to come here and you forgot all that and now you're trying to play a different way, it's not going to work because it's a Dark Souls game and it's going to punish the shit out of you for forgetting what you were doing. So I got a little bit of that, but I don't know, dude. I just these past couple days, I just found my groove and I'm cranking through this game. I mean, I'm having a blast. The boss designs, there are some bosses that are rivaling the bosses from Sekiro for me as far as how well put together they are.
Right.
And the open world thing just adds like a chill kind of moment in the game where you don't normally get that in Dark Souls. It's usually white
Right.
knuckled the whole way through. The open world gives you kind of like an exploring area to just
Room to
go and
breathe.
explore. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes when you're exploring, do you run into like a freaking ice dragon that's like way too high of a level for you? Sure. But you can just run away. You know what I mean? That's the cool thing about Elden Ring is if you get to a point and you get your butt kicked, you can just go away and do something else because there's, you know, 50 other things that you could be doing as well. That doesn't happen in Dark Souls. If you get your butt
Right.
kicked, you have to get through whatever is kicking your butt to progress the game.
Right.
So, like I said, it's kind of a mixed bag with if this game From Software's formula translates to an open world. But once you get going with it, man, and once you find like a weapon that you really like and a build you're working towards and armor you really like, it's a hell of a game, dude. I'm having a blast. Performance wise, it definitely can be better, especially we're now, I don't know when this game came out. It's months later. Like,
It's like a year, I feel like.
yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe we should be doing some more patches. I don't know if they're still doing patches, but there are definitely moments where it's not running very, very good at all.
Yeah, well, I think their inexperience in making open world games is what made so many people that play these kind of games like this, because it's that Dark Souls stuff in an open world, and
Yeah.
people were tired of the kind of like beat to death formula that really. I mean, Assassin's Creed's a good example of it. Like they just went balls to the wall, like with Valhalla, and Valhalla is like a good example of just like that formula is stretched too far.
Yeah.
Even with
Yeah.
like The Witcher 2, or The Witcher 3 as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of like it strains it. You can only do that so much. So like you just gotta start redoing the way that looks. I'll
Yeah. I'll be
probably
curious to see.
eventually I'll probably eventually get Elden Ring. Probably next year. I'll get it, especially if when it goes on like a deep sale.
I will say that it is far in my experience so far, and I'm pretty far into it. I've gotten past the capital, so I'm into what I would imagine is one of the later portions of the game. It is easily the most accessible From Software game by a long
Right,
shot, and it's
right,
it's because of that open world formula, because you don't have to barrel through the thing that's kicking you over and over. You can go do something else, level up, come back and take it on. But yeah, they just it's got a very and it really should have a very Game of Thrones vibe going on with it because George wrote. So, and I don't know
Dragons.
what. Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot in comparison. There's actually a sword you can get in the game that looks exactly like the Iron Throne. It's totally excessive. I can't stand it, but it's there if you're into that. I was hoping for a little bit more nods to Game of Thrones. If I'm being honest, I was hoping maybe like Jon Snow's sword would be in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we just got this ridiculously large great sword that I can't stand using in any of the Souls games. So, but yeah, once I found the whips, dude, like it was like game over because each weapon has like a different perk on it. So it will do like frost damage, yada, yada, yada. So blood loss, which is like a bleeding proc that you can put onto your enemies, is easily the most powerful thing that I found in the game. And both of my whips have blood loss on them.
Ooh,
so when you're just swinging these things around, like you can see the boss's bar get chunked like a huge amount, and that's the blood loss. So I've been really building into the blood loss, and I did have to like look up guides for some of this stuff, dude, especially the quests. Yeah. Like there are there's a quest I'm working through right now. Like I have no idea how the hell anybody figured out how to do any of this shit because it is so involved. Like you have to even find the lady to get the quest originally. She's like in an absurd location that you have to do a crap ton of stuff to even get into that location. Mm-hmm. And then she just shows up randomly in the world and you have to talk to her to advance her quest line. I was like, dude, there's no way I'm going to find her in this massive world. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I have been looking up some, as far as the quest line stuff goes, I like figuring out the bosses for myself. So that's kind of the whole drive of this game. This type of game for me is figuring that stuff out. It reminds me a lot of, and I think Mega Man made my top 5 list as well. The Mega Man series where you're trying to figure out the boss rhythm and their weaknesses. It's like the modernization of Mega Man. If Mega Man was a modern game, this is the style that it would be, is how I envision it. So that stuff, like I don't want to hear what's coming. I don't want to know what bosses are coming. I don't want to know strategies. That's like the fun part of the game, right?
Yeah, for sure. You're making Jeff want to play this game. You're making me want to play a little bit too.
Yeah, it's yeah, man. Like, I don't want to say that I like it more than Sekiro because I know in my heart that's probably not true. But nice. It's making a damn good case, and that's the reason for my discussion earlier with the article is I could see Sekiro 2 being a open world game like this. And it would translate very, very well to the fast movement and fast combat that Sekiro has.
And it would be like another string in us hoping like there's an open world samurai, Japanese, Japan game.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Assassin's Creed's not going to do it and our only hope is Ghost, maybe From Software will take that step.
Yeah, I think that and the same is true for Elden Ring. Really, any From Software game, are they excessively difficult at times? Yes, I'll admit they're some of the bosses, and the final boss in Sekiro is one of the most ridiculous bosses I've ever fought in my life. But if you go back and watch my playthrough, I whooped his ass. So they're learnable. It's not a unfair game. You know what I mean? That's what makes these games so good is they're very, very, very difficult at times, but always, always fair. If you die, you know exactly what you did wrong. You just need to execute on not doing it again when you fight him. And, that was something I had to learn with Sekiro is because outside of Mega Man, which those games, the older games are difficult probably for like if you went and played it and never played it before, they're not difficult for me because I grew up on those games. And, like Mega Man 3 is, I could probably do it with my eyes shut, to be honest with you. But it just, there's no game that gives you the satisfaction that a From Software game does. When you beat a boss that has literally whooped your ass for 2 hours, you finally get that kill shot on him. There's no better feeling There is absolutely no better feeling in the world of gaming specifically.
And it makes up for the previous 2 hours of the worst feeling in the
Oh,
world.
yes. Yeah. And that's
Oh,
that's what I think that's what I think they do really well balance wise is it's like the military where they kick you down and then build you back up, right? That's what From Software has done for every game that they've released. They're going to kick you into the dirt until you learn their systems. This isn't a game that you can, like Ghost of Tsushima, you can brute force your way through most of that game, even on the hardest difficulty. Like you're not going to get stuck at any point in that game. Eventually, you can just brute force your way through it. From Software games are not like that. You're not brute forcing your way through anything. You need to learn the mechanics of the game. You need to learn the boss patterns. You need to learn their weaknesses. You need to learn when their openings are. You need to learn their patterns of what attacks are coming and what the windup is, what attack is coming after the windup. So there's just no better feeling of accomplishment in gaming than From Software games. And I think Elden Ring nails it to a T. But you need to play Sekiro first, so don't even think about getting Elden Ring.
Yeah, right. I need to play Sekiro. Maybe that's a game. Not looking forward to it, but it's a game I need to eventually play.
You do. I promise you. I promise you that if you get that game's mechanics down, you will like that game, the combat in that game, more than Ghost of Tsushima or any game that you've probably played that has sword combat. No game does sword combat better than Sekiro. I don't care what it is. The only thing that would come somewhat close, and I think it's not close, would be the Shadow of Mordor games. That sword combat feels really good. The Arkham combat with swords, but nothing beats Sekiro, man. Like it's just once you get it down, you just feel like a badass. Like it's awesome.
Yeah. I have a hard time remembering to like block and parry like like regular games. Like even Assassin's Creed, I forget to like dodge. And I'm like, why are they just hitting me? Like
well, that's that's like I said, like most games you eventually can just brute force your way through it.
Yeah.
Sekiro, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, not happening. You need to learn that you won't, once you get into Sekiro, I assure you, you won't forget to parry because you will be dead if you don't parry. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you just buckle down, dude. Just get into it, or Mike's gonna take your reins from you.
Well,
you can't let Mike beat this game before you do. You can't let that happen.
Why can't I let that happen?
Why would you want that to happen?
He plays way more games than me. It makes sense
statistically. No. But you made the original oath.
But he doesn't play as good at games as I do.
True. That's valid. That's valid. Yeah, you're right.
Not that he doesn't play good games, but I feel like he floods his catalog with enough like questionable games.
Yeah.
Like it takes it down a notch. I try to run a clean track record.
You played Fallen Order, right?
Yep.
And did you like the parrying system in that game?
Yeah, even though I like that I could brute force and not have to.
Okay.
But see that's the thing is like that game was one where I bumped the difficulty down just so I could like for the sake of finishing it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. The only option you have there in Sekiro is to bump the difficulty up, not down. But the thing about Sekiro that I'm saying though is brute forcing your way through that game is by parrying. Like you can just work enemies over by not even attacking them, just parrying them. So instead of attacking with R1, you're parrying with L1, and you'll kill those enemies 1,000% quicker than you would by just straight attacking them.
But you have to time your parries.
Yeah, but once you get the timing down, it's there. Like it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. It's very tight, very responsive, very what Fallen Order should have felt like, but it was just slightly off. And Bio and I talked about that. It just was ever so slightly off, and it made the gameplay feel weaker because of it.
Yeah, the problem with Fallen Order is it didn't have a good like flow. like you would parry and it would disrupt the flow of combat
Yeah.
because they would like stagger and then all of a sudden like the cycle resets
Right.
kind of.
Yeah.
You either killed them or the cycle reset and you're back to like where you started.
Yeah. And that's where I think Sekiro gets it right. And I've said on here before, Sekiro is a rhythm game 100%. Even though it is a From Software, hard game, it is a rhythm game through and through. You're weaving in your deflects and your attacks and your parries and your prosthetic tools, and you have to do them appropriately at the right times. So it's through and through a rhythm game, especially some of the harder bosses. Like, I mean, it's like you're playing freaking Guitar Hero, literally. That you get to that point where you just know when to deflect, when to attack, when to throw in your shinobi tools. And I'm telling you, maybe I'm making it sound worse, but there's no better
I never
combat.
really liked Guitar Hero. I never saw the allure to those games.
Okay,
either.
well, it's not a direct comparison. Like
I
you're
know
not
what you're
watching
saying,
stuff. You're not watching stuff come
Yeah.
towards you on the screen. It's different, but it is a rhythm game.
I know what you're
100%.
saying. Yeah. I mean, I like that about Ghosts because like you could. That's what I liked about Ghosts over like say Assassin's Creed is like Ghosts. You could get into like a rhythm and like just be butter slicing through like enemies.
Yeah.
And like the combat didn't have that breakup that you would find in like Assassin's Creed or like another like game that doesn't have that flow.
Yeah. I think that
Like Fallen Order.
Ghost does one versus many very, very, very well. Not as good as the Arkham games, probably. Arkham's, I think, the pinnacle of one versus many gameplay for me personally, but it's close.
Mm-hmm.
It does it very well. Sekiro is one-on-one combat. If you're fighting multiple enemies in Sekiro, you did something wrong and you should probably run and reset the area and come back and fight a one by one because you're going to get worked over by multiple enemies.
That's good.
So it's just, it's all about stealthing around, finding your path through the area and taking everybody on with a stealth kill or one-on-one because you do not want to be worried. You do not want to be fighting like even two people at once is going to end badly for you. Same with Souls games.
That's how I play Assassin's Creed. Maybe that's how I need to play Sekiro. I just need to one-on-one and stealth kill everything.
I mean, you got to remember that Sekiro is a ninja game. That's what you're playing as. You're a ninja.
True.
So use those dirty tactics where it felt so dirty to use in Ghost of Tsushima. It shouldn't feel that way in Sekiro because that's literally what he is. So yeah, that's the best path for a new person to take playing that game is stealthing their way through it. I like just running in and taking them on because I like the sword combat a lot. But for you, that's what I highly recommend. It's just trying to stealth your way through most of the areas because there are big enemies that you can get stealth kills on that will really work you over if you get into a fight with them. So striking from the shadows is definitely the way to go for a new player in Sekiro.
Yeah, and I think it would be one thing if I don't know, and also there's the added layer of like the meta like around dying and like those mechanics like that was confusing me. I'm like, why can't I just die and come back to life and just continue dying by this other thing? Like there's some other like layer of
that'll go away after that first cutscene where you see it. All it is that you die twice. That's it, and that's what differs Sekiro very, very vastly from Dark Souls and Elden Ring. In Elden Ring and Dark Souls, you die once, you're dead. You're gonna have to restart the whole boss fight. Sekiro, not the case. You get two deaths, sometimes three, depending on how the situation pans out. So all it is
like for the game.
Yeah. So the way that it works is when you resurrect in Sekiro, you die and you hit that R1, I think it is, to resurrect. It puts a black strike over your resurrections down in the corner. You have to get another kill shot on a boss to remove that. So later in the game, when you get 3 of those nodes, those resurrection nodes, if you die, it puts that black strike on it. But if you get a kill shot on one of the bosses, take away one of their health bars, that goes away. So you can revive again and you can do that up to 3 times depending on how the boss fight pans out. So, yeah. I mean, I think that Elden Ring is probably the most accessible game now, but Sekiro back in the day was probably the most accessible From Software game because of that mechanic specifically. And it sucks not having it in Elden Ring sometimes, I'll be honest with you. Because I beat a boss today that probably took me 11 tries to do. And those 10, 11 tries were like literally one shot. If I had that resurrect, I could just resurrect, hit him once and be done with it. But I ended up dying. So I had to restart the whole thing all over again. So I do miss that resurrection mechanic in Sekiro, but I get why it's not here. They did try to add stealth into Elden Ring that just does not, like, they maybe should have learned from the stealth in Sekiro. Like, I don't know, it's the same studio that made the game, so I don't know why the stealth feels so crappy in Elden Ring, but it's not a very viable
Stealth can be
option.
tricky.
Yeah,
it can be tricky. I never got down with stealth in like Skyrim and stuff like that. Like what one wasn't my playstyle, and like it wasn't to me viable for a dedicated path for my
yeah,
character. Like
yeah, I
I
agree.
basically in like higher levels, like basically once I got really OP and I was starting to like branch into like random things that I wanted to do, then I was playing around with like bows and stealth and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's tricky. At least for me, the way I play, like as a primary means of
I
doing it
agree.
in a game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like stealthing really in games. I think what makes Sekiro's stealth feel so good is the verticality of that game, where that's another big departure from Dark Souls. Dark Souls does not really have any kind of verticality.
Yeah,
With that rope that you have in Sekiro, you can get on top of buildings, drop down on enemies from practically any height as long as you time it up and land on them. So I think that's what made me kind of lean that way. That, and I was getting my ass kicked if I was getting on a head-on fight with somebody, so the stealth felt much better. But most games I don't stealth. Elden Ring, like, it's there, especially with the whips now, dude. Like, I've got such a reach with these things that
you're like
it's like,
stealth whipping people out of the bushes, like
yeah,
just.
dude, those things feel so good, man. Like, it makes me want a modern 3D Castlevania game because it just feels so freaking cool to pull off.
Do those have like a really good sound to them?
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. The ones that I have are metal whips. That's why they have the bleed on them. So,
That's
yeah,
smart.
they have a really, really, really cool sound to them. I
That's
don't know that
lethal.
I'll ever swap from them because, dude, there's literally like 500 weapons in this game, like a massive amount of any weapon type that you can think of. It's in this game, and I don't know. It's just maybe it's because it's not in a lot of games. Whips. It's my jam now, dude.
It's
Like
not.
my
I mean,
yeah,
definitely,
it's
it's
not.
not.
Yeah, it's not.
Especially two.
The most that you get whip wise is literally like the old school Castlevanias, which was like a side scrolling 2D game with a little whip that you used. So it doesn't have that whip feeling. This has a whip feeling to it. And I think that they were in other Dark Souls games, but I just never touched them because it sounded like a terrible idea. But in Elden Ring, they just feel so right, man. It's hard because
Nice.
I picked up a really freaking badass katana last night in Elden Ring, and I'm having a hard time not swapping over to it. But I gotta stick with the whips, man. They've done me right so far. Like, I've had an easy time since I got that build down. So
It's not broke.
don't.
You're
Yep.
all right.
Yep.
Don't mess with it. Obviously, ever since like last week, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
So I've been enjoying getting back into that after a long break. But I finished the hidden ones. I just have one achievement in there that I don't know how to get because it's like free 20 rebels, but there's no like rebels to free
There's no
because
rebels to free.
I think because I finished the story, they're all free. Apparently I have to go somewhere and find like rebels. So almost 100% that, just one more achievement, and then I made some really good progress on the main game in terms of like I think I'm at 80%.
Oh, nice. Going back and clearing everything out.
Yep. Yeah, just like tracking down like some oddball achievements. Like there's one where you tame a lion and you have to bring it to an alligator. Um,
Oh, really? That's
and
cool.
then they fight and then you get an achievement. Just like really weird stuff like that. And then I went through and killed. Did you ever find an elephant pit or like an elephant ring?
Um, I think so
Basically,
because I think there was a either weapon or armor you got for beating
mm,
one of those. So whatever one that was, I got the armor. So yeah,
there's
I didn't
one
know
all
there
the
were
way in the
multiple
Delta.
ones though.
Yeah, there's basically the one you encounter is like story driven, and it's like by Alexandria, like all the way north of the map. Out in the desert, there's two more like elephant pits that you have to fight, and they're hard. But I looked up kind of like how to fight them, and they're pretty easy once you kind of know what to
Once you
do.
know, yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, we did a full episode on it. I love that game. And like I said in that episode, Assassin's Creed should be going back. If they go back to that style of gameplay in Japan, dude, like fucking sign me up. Like 100%. Throw a Discovery Tour thing in there and I will be day one buying that game. Even though it's Ubisoft, so it'll be a glitchy nightmare when it launches.
Hmm.
I'll deal with it because it'll be well worth it.
Yeah, if they went that route, Discovery Tour, like in Shogun Japan, like
Yeah, feudal Japan, dude. Oh my
that would
gosh, I'd
just
be
be
all over it.
fantastic.
It'd be so good.
Um, and then I started Curse of the Pharaohs this week because I kind of, I felt pretty good about where I was at. I covered all the map in the main game, and I was like, okay, I did a good chunk there, so I'll go finish Curse of the Pharaohs, and that's fun just because of the gameplay change up. Because, well, like narratively, you're like it's kind of like a artifact. The idea is like someone disturbed a tomb, cursed
Yeah.
the land, so like you're kind of on like a little bit of a detective mission, and it's like kind of tighten it like that. So it's some cool different story elements, and it also just looks a little bit more polished because it was the last
The
DLC. So
last
like,
DLC, yeah.
yeah, so I've been enjoying that. I just like how much liberty they take with the story elements in those games. Like there's literally like risen zombie pharaohs that you fight.
Oh, yeah. I did see that because I watched the review on it because I almost bought it because it was on sale.
Yeah. Well, how would you feel about that? Like, as they do that in Assassin's Creed, they like break those immersion elements. Like, they would definitely do that in Japan to you, and there
Oh,
would be
yeah.
like, I
I
guess
mean,
that would be cool. It's cool anywhere you do it.
I'm here for that stuff because Japan has some really cool folklore creatures inside. There's a lot in Sekiro. A lot of the enemies that you're
Yeah.
fighting in there
Right.
are folklore, Japanese folklore creatures. So yeah, I'd be here for it for sure.
Yeah.
But I do, at the base of it, don't want the story to revolve around that in an Assassin's Creed game.
Right.
Like, if
The
you want to give me
main.
little side things to do that involve that, yeah. But I want the like political intrigue of the time, not the monsters that people thought were real that actually weren't.
Yeah, and that's something that Origins does really good too. Is like the political intrigue because you really learn a lot about like
Yeah,
how all that's happening. That's super Game of Thrones like
it
too.
is. Yes. That's what bums me out that and it might be in Odyssey, but it's not in Valhalla. Like there's not a whole
That's
lot
what I was
of
gonna. Yeah, I was gonna ask. It
I mean,
doesn't sound like
there's
it would be in there.
the thing with Valhalla is there is a lot of that stuff, but it all is seemingly self-contained in the story that you're playing. There's a lot of different like you devote yourself to a specific part on the map and then you go solve whatever problem is going on there. And there's some of that stuff is political intrigue going on in the area, but it's pretty much self-contained. When you finish that story, you come back, you pull the knife out of the table and
Hmm.
you stab it somewhere else and move on. Now, does it maybe come all back together at the end? Maybe. I didn't get to the end. I didn't finish the game, even though I put like almost 100
200
hours into
hours
it.
later.
Yeah. So it might come back, but as far as them being related to each other in any capacity whatsoever, I didn't see it in my playthrough, which was kind of a bummer.
Interesting. Yeah. So I've been enjoying that. Changed up my
We'll have
gear
to
a little bit.
check out because I think on the 10th, Ubisoft is doing a live stream for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to almost certainly going to get to see something on Mirage, the one that we talked about last week. And then I'm hoping we get some sort of hint on what Infinity is, or a
little bit of direction
screenshot,
there.
or a little bit of a hint. I would imagine that they're not going to do a full live stream just on one game. If they're doing an Assassin's Creed live stream, I'm sure we're going to get some sort of snippet, maybe more than a snippet, but at least a snippet on what's
On the
going on with
10th, so
Infinity.
Sunday,
Yeah,
Saturday.
I think it's Saturday. Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, that'll be key. The other game, and I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't know what last time I was on What's Playing, but Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I know I've mentioned it before, but like that game's just fun if you like Dragon Ball Z. It just like re-goes through the story, and like for an open world set in like Dragon Ball, like it's fun
really
to
want
like.
to. Yeah, I want to
It's
play
not
that.
it's not super in depth, but like it's just enough to like entertain you in between and like give you enough break. But then you kind of get in the way they set up like I just got the Namek part of in the Frieza Sega, and like you're playing as Gohan, right? And like doing that bit of the story, and then it jumps over and you pick up on Vegeta's timeline and like what he's doing. He's chasing down all the Ginyu Force and just like murdering them. So like
Yeah.
it's cool like that, and then like slowly the world like opens up where you just do a little bit more. Like most of you're collecting orbs and stuff to level your guys up, but it's fun. And like what they're kind of instance fights, but you have like the entire area to like fight in. And you
Yeah.
can fight on the ground, you can fight in the air, you can fight under the water, and like you hit the ground, like stuff happens to like the ground and everything. Like it's they really did a really good job of capturing like fighting in
Yeah.
that show.
Yeah. I really want to play that game because I'm not into Dragon Ball at all, but I want to be. Like, it seems like something I would love 100%, but the anime is very intimidating. It's like Naruto, where it's like 700 something episodes or something ridiculous.
Now that yeah, the when it was on like Cartoon Network, like Toonami, there's for whatever reason that's twice as long because they like overextend them and like stretch it out for the sake of like TV. There's something weird there.
Well,
But
a lot of anime have a lot of filler episodes where there's just not much going on in the way of the overarching story. So I know that you can look up like a list of non-filler episodes for Naruto specifically. So I'm sure Dragon Quest is the same way, where there's an excessive amount of filler episodes where nothing really happens.
Yeah, but this was like they did this on like Cartoon Network specifically. Like it's almost not original.
Oh, really? Okay.
And like Bao said here, like watch Dragon Ball Kai. It's the short version of it. So like they cut out a lot of the filler. Like they're like literally the versions you were to buy now at the store or watch or stream. They are the abridged, like more condensed versions.
Yeah.
So be a little less intimidated by that. But if you want to play a game and get like basically the story down,
I like jiving with a show and a game at the same time. So
I think it would be cool if you were to play the game and then watch the show, because that's like a reverse order from most people. So it would be cool just to have you out in the world being like, hey, I played the game first, then I went and watched the show.
Yeah.
That would be a cool experience to have.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I saw, because I almost got it the other day, because I think it was on sale on PlayStation.
Yeah, I got it on sale
for like really, really, really cheap. I should have just bought it and just stuck it in my library for someday.
I think it was like $20 the other month when I got it.
Yeah. It looks like it looks really cool, man. And I played the Demon Slayer game. So if it's like an abridged version of the story like that is, I like the Demon Slayer game a lot. So good couch co-op on that game as well. And I don't know if Dragon Ball has like, can you fight each other in it?
There's probably a game mode like that. But you can get like basically the side scroll like Tekken version called
Oh yeah,
Xenoverse.
yeah. I
I
saw
bought
that.
that for like
Yeah,
$3 on the PlayStation Store at the same time, and I played a little bit of that.
yeah. Because I know Brady wants to get into Dragon Ball too, because he's mentioned it a couple times.
Dude,
So
you
I
guys
really,
need to.
yeah, I just need to do it. I just need to find time because,
Yeah.
like, I'm fully deep on the Game of Thrones thing, still going months later, and I'm waiting. Probably October is going to be devoted entirely to The Last of Us Part One because that game came
Mm.
out. I've never replayed The Last of Us. I've played it one time, and I would love to go back and play the new Part One
PlayStation
version of it.
3?
PlayStation
Or is
3.
that a 4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
3.
PlayStation
Wow.
3. It was like I think it was literally the last major release on PlayStation 3.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. I played the like complete like final version of that on the 4.
on the 4, yeah, they had, like, a remaster on the 4.
Yep.
I never played that one, so, yeah, I just have the memory of the PlayStation 3 one, and this one
Oh,
looks like it's a pretty decent upgrade even to that remaster, so
it's gonna be gorgeous compared to what you remember.
oh, yeah, I guarantee it. Yeah,
It's
it
nuts.
looks radically different from what I remember, just the reviews and stuff that I watched, but that seems like the perfect Spooktober game to
There's
get
just
into.
some games like the way they make them, just like you said with Origins, like they were able to patch that for the 60 FPS and like it looks like it came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Last of Us, like that came out on the PS3 technically at the end, but they're able to patch it, work it up to basically look like it came out yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I heard from the remaster that came out on the PS4 was that it was a big step up from the PS3, but
Yeah.
this part 1 is allegedly built from the ground up for the PS5, like, it's not a
Wow.
remaster, like, they built it up from the ground up, so, curious to see how it is. I think The Last of Us 2 is one of the most beautifully stunning graphical games that I've ever played in my life,
I
and
need to play that.
it's taking, you know, part 1, obviously, The Last of Us Part 2, so they're going backwards, but using the graphics from part 2 and, maybe some of the gameplay elements as well. So, yeah, I'm excited. It's literally one of my favorite games of all time. I've only played it once because it was the perfect freaking experience. I never felt a need to go back and replay it, but that need has now arisen
That's
with
a good
part
point.
1.
Yeah, it's definitely that's how I took it too. I was like, wow, I played that. It's like watching a really good movie once. Like it's good.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's paced out so well, and it the pace of that though too, because you can't really like crush through it, and you don't
Right.
want to, so you're really taking it all in,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah, I
really
agree.
like a moment thing, and then when you're done, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's
years later,
literally it's the only game that's ever made me cry, ever. Like that the giraffe scene in that game, dude, I can barely even fucking talk about it. Like, I don't know, I don't get emotional at much of anything. I've never cried at a movie or anything. That's the only thing that's ever media-wise made me
not
cry.
Interstellar.
Yeah, oh, yeah, okay, okay, fair. I guess I do bawl my eyes out every time I watch Interstellar. That's fair.
Yeah,
Okay, I forgot about Interstellar, but video game-wise is what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
You had to bring up the Interstellar thing, yeah.
Maybe I need to bust that movie out because I was randomly last night. I finished up a documentary, a music documentary on Prime, and then I saw Wolf of Wall Street, and I was like, yeah, I got like 40 minutes. I'll just
Yeah,
fire that up.
I love that fucking movie, man.
And I was
I
just
need to
yeah,
go
I was
back and watch that.
I
I
mean, I
haven't
just
watched it
see
in
it's always
forever.
so relevant in like memes and gifs, and like I
Yeah,
was always like, man, I love that movie, and then it was there, and I just clicked it and
yeah,
watched like the first like 40, 50 minutes, and I was like, I love this movie like so
yeah.
much.
So defend myself against the Interstellar thing. So yes, I have cried multiple times watching Interstellar, but one of those times, maybe like 2 times. First time I saw that scene, and then one of those times was right after uh, the lieutenant's exam stuff at the fire department. And it was, I had did my like assessment center that night and I was working and I was in bed. It was more of like just a fucking relief of everything that I just went through and just happened to be directed at that scene in Interstellar that tipped it over the edge. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
man,
really it's like once I cried at it. that doesn't count. That is probably crying for other reasons there. It was just tipped over by Interstellar.
Yeah. I saw it in IMAX. I think that's what was the tipping factor there, because like IMAX is just, that movie in IMAX is just too exhausting.
Dude, I'm so jealous that you saw that in IMAX, because I've never seen it on anything bigger than a 75-inch flat screen TV in my living room, which bums me out.
I mean, recently, like, I brought up like the fact that Rogue One was in IMAX, and the coworker went and saw it. I'm like, man, I am so mad I didn't like reorganize my life to make that happen for myself.
Yeah,
it was in Columbus, so like it'd be a decent reorganization of my life to like, I'm gonna go to Columbus and watch Rogue One for the fourth time in theaters.
Do you remember when it might have been right when COVID hit? Tinseltown was doing like, they were rerunning movies, or you could like rent the theater out by yourself and watch a movie or something.
Yep.
And I was like always checking on there to see if Interstellar was going to pop up, because I was totally going to do it if Interstellar popped up, but it never did, unfortunately.
1 or 15, that would have been awesome. One of those first theaters.
Yeah,
on the big screen.
Yeah,
man, good movie. BioCiv, he's been playing some games per usual. Here's what he's been playing: Resident Evil 4 on the PC, Hotline Miami on the PC.
Oh, great game. I love Hotline Miami.
Rogue Legacy on the PC, Dead Space 2 on the Xbox. Dang. Dead Space 2.
I'm saving myself for the Dead Space remake, and then maybe I'll consider 2 like on the Steam Deck or something.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Oh, that's another good reason. I mean, you can get Dead Space 1 on the Steam, but they're remastering it.
Yeah.
Super Mario 64.
Mass Effect is verified on there, the new one, Legendary Edition. Like that sounds like the prime freaking handheld experience. I'm kind of pissed that I already played through those games, because that might have taken
those are good
over
on the
Persona.
Yeah, but that's worth it playing Mass Effect on
That's true.
PS5 on a big TV.
Yeah, that's true.
There's just so much going on in those. Super Mario 64 on the Switch. Sifu, shout out.
Oh yeah. PS5. Yeah, I checked out that new update that they Sifu just got a new big update with a bunch of stuff in it. For whatever godforsaken reason, they still won't let you select your age at the start of the game. I don't know why. That's not they have all this other stuff that you can pick, and they don't let you select. No, you can go in and die until you turn the age that you want to, but I would like the option to play as the old man right from the start of the game.
Yeah. So you don't have to cheese it. That's kind of cheesy.
Yeah. It kind of sucks. But I don't know. Maybe it'll come in a but they did add a lot into this new update. So I do need to get back, and maybe I'll stream it at some point, get back into it, because
that looks like a game that they could even change or add quite a bit to over time, just the way it's structured and built.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I don't think their roadmap shows any sort of like major DLC. It's mostly like high scores and modifiers, which is what they just added. They might have changed the scoring system as well, added in a couple of new outfits and stuff. But it's primarily the modifiers that I'm interested in, because you can get like unbreakable weapons, God mode, harder enemies, no blocking, all kinds of stuff they added. So
they should do like a randomized boss version where it just shuffles the story.
Like a boss rush mode would be awesome in that too. Sekiro got that update, and that breathed a heck of a new life into that game, because they had different like categories of boss rushes, and some of them are like, the one is like 11 bosses in a row or something ridiculous, and you can't die. If you die, you go back to the beginning. So I really wanted to try to do that one.
In the same like load up instance.
Yeah.
Continuous.
You can kill a boss, rest at one of the idols to refresh your health and your stuff, and then move on. But if you die, you go all the way back to the beginning.
Wow. Boss rush would be sweet. BioCiv. Bio
says
wow.
it's a tongue twister for you there, bro.
Yeah. Gauntlet fighting is so much fun. Is that like a gauntlet or like a weapon type?
Gauntlet fighting, so much fun. I have no idea.
Hmm.
I think he means gauntlet, like boss rush, boss
Yeah.
gauntlet is what he
Okay,
means.
yeah. That's maybe I thought maybe Sifu had like special
Gauntlets you could
gauntlets
wear.
you could
Yeah.
like wear. Boxing gloves. They should add
Yeah.
some like fun things like
I
that in there.
am oddly curious of the breakable weapons because the weapons in that game do break rather easy. So I never really use them that much because
Really breakable weapons.
very breakable weapons. So I never used them, because I felt like it was more badass to just kick everybody's ass with my hands and not use a weapon. But I would like to use like a unbreakable staff. Like the staff fighting in that game was really, really fun. So yeah, I do need to get back to that. But I got like a plan. I got a plan and I can't. The Steam Deck is already going to wreck that plan probably. So
just buy Sifu on Steam.
Yeah.
In Titanfall 2, he's also been playing. That's interesting. I feel like did that just come out or is it just patched up now? It's like way more fun.
No, it's old.
Yeah, it's an old game.
It's like a Xbox One, early Xbox One game, maybe.
Games he wants to play: Skull and Bones, second mention. I think that probably should be on Mike's list too. Like everyone should just add that to their list. Because we're gonna have the Showboys Armada or whatever is gonna be going on.
Let's go.
And maybe that's what I wanted to say earlier. Maybe the developer just said that because like it isn't deep, because like the right players could make it all the fun it needs to be.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, most of the games that have that as a plan fall apart rather quickly. Anthem, I think, had that as a plan. So anytime I hear like, oh yeah, the community is going to make this game awesome, I'm like, okay, not buying that game because the community is certainly not going to make it awesome and it's going to die rather quickly. But we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's Pirates. There's not much out there that's similar to it. So
Right. Callisto Protocol. I feel like that.
Yeah.
What's that related to?
That is the quote spiritual successor to Dead Space. I think it's the original director of Dead Space went on to do that Callisto Protocol. It's a space horror game. And you know what? Let me look that up real quick because I think that's coming out. That might be a good Spooktober game as well, though. I do want to say this real quick, going back to our Assassin's Creed thing. Supposedly, according to a Bloomberg writer, Ubisoft will be showing 2 other major games at this Assassin's Creed thing. An Assassin's Creed codenamed Red, set in feudal Japan, and a one codenamed Neo or Hex, set in the later stages of the Holy Roman Empire and revolves around the witch trials.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
I'm in on both of those.
Holy Roman Empire stuff is cool stuff. Also brings it. That's definitely trending in the direction of like old school Assassin's Creed, right? Going into that stuff.
So we'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath because the Japanese thing has been kicked around for many, 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 many years. But this guy, this name, I'm not even going to say his name, but he is a rather big name in gaming, and if he's saying it, it's making me more lenient on believing it. But we'll see. Saturday.
Hey, we might be on the like precipice of like a huge Japanese samurai like wave, because like we're like really in the thick of like the Viking wave, like in multiple genres of gaming, across multiple mediums of entertainment, and we've got some good samurai entries, but like we said, there's a lot missing there. Like a overall immerse yourself into it. So
I will happily play both of those games, Ghost of Tsushima 2, Sekiro 2, and a Assassin's Creed. And that's funny because I would not have said that 6 months ago that I would play
Right.
an Assassin's Creed game in feudal Japan, but
Because you
Valhalla
had
and
to get that
Origins,
origin. Yeah, get that
yeah,
Origins
Origins,
experience.
yep, absolutely.
Oh, so good. He also wants to play Scorn, Gotham Knights, Atomic Heart, and Resident Evil Reverse. Um, and clarification, he says that's Resident Evil PvPvE. So that always piques Mike's attention when you talk about Resident Evil. He's been on a Resident Evil crawl lately, I feel like. But that's all the answer to the boys. Appreciate you all putting those in this week. Definitely lots of gaming going on here at the tail end of summer as everyone kind of nests in for the cooler months here in Ohio.
Callisto Protocol doesn't come out till December 2nd, so it's well out of the Spooktober time frame. So Last
It's
of
the
Us it is.
opposite. It's the
Yeah,
opposite. It needs to be like Christmas themed and
right.
Santa Claus.
I wonder if I think it is like snow based at least.
Hmm.
We'll see. Maybe I'm
It's like
wrong in
Die
that.
Hard, Christmas movie, and this will be like a Christmas
Yeah,
game, but
yeah,
just because it's snowing and it's set during Christmas time.
right. Yeah, it looks cool, man. I do feel like I should probably play Dead Space maybe before I play this game. Like I feel dirty playing this game before Dead Space, but I don't think
Mm-hmm.
we have a release window on Dead Space, so maybe we do.
Yeah. I mean, a game I'm looking forward to playing, I think I'm just going to have to bust out the Horizon Forbidden West. I'm going to have to. I kind of want to wait for that to go on sale this holiday
Dude,
season.
I mean, you do whatever you want, but that game is well worth every bit of the 70
Oh, I'm sure.
price point. Every bit.
I'm sure.
And
Well,
I'm
playing
having
Assassin's Creed makes me want to play that because, like, just open world RPG with good story.
yeah. It's gonna be man, it's gonna be a toss up for me for game of the year between I had a great time with Sifu. I want to give it game of the year, but unfortunately it had the the bad luck of releasing in the same year of two like world renowned games in Elden Ring and Horizon. But yeah, neck and neck Horizon and Elden Ring for me right now. We'll see how
Good.
the rest of Elden Ring pans out.
Oh,
But
that's what it was. I was thinking about our game of the year episode, and I was like, I probably should play
you
Horizon.
really should play Horizon at least before that episode, yeah.
Just because, like, I was a big pusher of that game back in the day when the first one came out. I was just like, come on, everyone, just play that game. Trust me.
Yeah,
It's
this
good.
one elevates. Yeah, this one elevates Horizon Zero Dawn by 20.
I mean,
This game's amazing.
It was my Ghost of Tsushima where I was like, dude,
Yeah,
great first entry to the series. If they just like capitalize on that, it won't
and
die.
yeah, and this Forbidden West is what got me so excited for a Ghost of Tsushima 2. Just the graphics and the gameplay and everything. I'm like, dude, I could totally see a Tsushima sequel looking like this at least. And I know that it is patched up better than when I played it. It did have some glitches. It did have some performance oddities, I'll call it. But I got on it the other day just to check out the patch, and it's fixed from what I can tell. So
And
yeah,
that's also what I'm a big fan of
waiting for
anymore.
that
Is
stuff.
like
Yeah,
I did that for Origins. So thankful I did because that game had major issues when it first came out. So like even if a game's like really good and they're like, oh, don't worry about the bugs, like it makes it worth it. I'm like, I
yeah,
can wait 6 months for them to patch it and make it
right.
like pristine, and I have like no bad memories of this game. Just
Yeah,
let it be perfect.
yeah. It's a good spot to jump in. You definitely should play it before the game of the year discussion because
Yeah, I
no
think.
doubt.
I think in terms of my console career here, it's going to be a little bit more Assassin's Creed. At least finish the story for Pharaohs.
Yeah,
And probably just like hit pause on like getting the platinum trophy there, even though I
yeah.
might get close. Um,
But I
I w-
also kind of want to suggest that you wait until you get a freaking 4K TV to play that
I
game
know,
as
that's the
well,
other
because
thing.
that's like a glaring misstep in your house, bro. Like, how do you not have a 120 hertz 4K TV at this moment?
Hmm.
Like, if you can hold out on Horizon until you get one of those TVs, that is the experience to test that TV out.
Right. See,
You know
that's
what I
another
mean?
reason to wait.
Yeah. Dead Space is scheduled to release January 27th of
Hmm.
2023. So not too
Okay.
far off from
Okay. Not
Callisto
too far.
Protocol. Like a little
Well,
over a month and a half.
okay. Well, I'll definitely be gunning for Dead Space remake, because I started that game and definitely was like just far enough away where I can wait for the remake and it's not
Yeah.
as palatable
Yeah.
like present
That's
day.
like, I'm waiting. Like, Bio's playing Resident Evil 4 right now. I'm waiting for that remake because Resident Evil 4 has like one of the worst gameplay elements where you can't move while you're shooting, and today that's not going to translate very well if I go back and
Yeah.
play that now. You know what I mean? So I'm waiting for that, and I'm definitely waiting for the Dead Space. I've been treated very well with the remasters lately with Resident Evil 2. I mean, it's well worth the wait. Like, there's no reason to go back and play Dead Space at this current moment. It's like gonna be
I
here
still
by
want them to get closer on this Witcher update. I would really like that so I can like
yeah.
continue that game, because I was getting into it, but then I was like, it's just at that spot where I'm like, I'm familiar now enough with the game. I would like to finish this with like that update because it's such a
Yeah.
big game. I don't want to
Yeah.
burn myself.
Yeah, it's really annoying the shit out of me, I'll be honest with you.
It is.
And now that I have the Steam Deck, I think it might be a mute point at this point, because that
True.
feels like a really cool place to play at 60 FPS The Witcher. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's annoying me because, like, what the hell are they doing? Like, are they
Yeah.
revamping the entire game from the ground up? Because it's taking an excessively long amount of time to get this damn
Especially
Witcher update out.
especially for like how long they've teased it and talked about
Yeah.
it as if like it should have come out, but there's some like really stupid reason like they just canceled. Like they just decide, nah, never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, they delayed it, and now they're saying that it's coming before the end of the year. Okay, well, you're kind of running out of time
Mm,
here. You know what I mean? You're running
yeah,
out of
don't
time.
don't like Mandalorian season 2 us and come out on
Right.
like December 29th. Like
Yeah, right.
that doesn't
Yeah.
count.
And
You
it annoys
suck.
me because there's a kick there waiting for me too, because I have not watched The Witcher. There's an anime Witcher movie now on Netflix. So there's like a lot of
There's
shit I can dive into. I just
there's a
need that
lot.
update. Yeah,
There's
I need that
multiple
update.
things out there is an entire section on Netflix over the Witcher
Right.
stuff.
Right.
So there's multiple animated shows now, plus the movie
Yeah.
and obviously the show. So
Yeah, it's really annoying me. And
and they have
honestly, bro, it's probably gonna just end up being played on Steam.
yeah, I guess.
That's just the route I'm gonna have to go.
Well, yeah, I'm not in a hurry, so they can take their time, I guess. But it's
Yeah.
just unfortunate because I would play that right now tonight
Right.
if
Yeah.
it came
I would
out.
too. Yeah.
Um,
That would have won the spot instead of Elden Ring had that freaking patch been out, because I played and I was loving it. But I think I told you, I don't know if I told you on the air, if you have the disc version of The Witcher and you install it with no updates or patches, it runs
yeah.
at 60 FPS.
Yep.
The problem with that is I forgot how much of a shit show that game was when it first launched, and how much patching they had to do to even get it to run properly. And yeah, I played like 2 hours with Geralt missing his face. Like, it's just black. Because it's not patched. They obviously they fix that at a patch at some point, but I couldn't put the patch in because then it locks it at 30. So
That's crazy that you, like if you have the disc, you can play that
yeah,
horrendous version of the game.
right. And it sucks because honestly, minus the missing face, I didn't run into that many glitches, and it running at 60 FPS, even with no graphical updates whatsoever. It's like Origins. They didn't do any major graphical updates on it. They just made it run at 60 FPS, right?
Yeah.
So that makes a
Cleans it up.
huge difference in gameplay. and can make games, like we said with Origins, look like they came out recently and not years ago. So
Yeah,
I don't know
but
what the
Witcher's
hell
just at the right age where it needs like that full content
it
update to
does.
like
Yeah.
it's just gonna propel it so much.
Yeah, and I'm happy that the gameplay holds up great. Like I love the
Yeah,
gameplay on The Witcher.
yeah,
It's amazing. And it gets even better as you level up. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm just pissed that it's taking them so long to get this out.
yeah. I always start to shop for 4K TVs. I'm like, nah.
Oh my gosh, you just got to do it, bro. Like why even have a PS5 if you don't have a 4K TV?
Cause
Yeah, just cuz, but you need a 4K TV to experience most of the shit that the console is doing. So,
that it's all in the controller, man. That's half the party.
that's true. That's true. Damn good controller. I'll give them that for
It
sure.
just feels good. That controller just feels good in the
Yeah,
hands.
it does.
It gives you no fatigue at all in terms of like PS2. Like, yeah, that controller would your hand would like contort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the perfect set. Yeah, by far. I always said for the longest time the GameCube was my favorite controller. It still is one of my favorite controllers ever. PS5 top
oh,
tip top. Nothing has even come close to it.
yeah, that thing
Just
is so
the
worth
haptics,
beautiful.
everything going on in that controller, dude, is just remarkable. And I don't think
Yeah.
anyone disagrees with that whatsoever. I think this
No.
generation, most people are saying the PS5 has got the better controller by a mile.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The Dual Shock is. I love the history of the Dual Shock. That'd be worth a whole deep dive into as well.
for sure.
They've just put so much care into that evolution of that concept.
Yeah, they have.
Well, I think that about wraps it. That's all I got. You got anything else?
I got nothing else.
Nothing else. We just got a bunch of remakes, updates, and games to play, and updates that may never come.
Yeah.
Which are jerks.
Right. Looking at you.
Who is that same studio making that? Right, we're looking at the same. Who makes
Same studio making what?
Witcher?
CD Projekt Red. They're the same ones that did
But are they doing the
Cyberpunk?
patch?
Yeah, they're doing the patch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's probably they're too busy patching Cyberpunk. Which
Yeah,
I hear
here
is better these days.
at the end of the, I really need to get to Cyberpunk. I also hear that it's much better these days, and that game looks awesome. So, at the end of the day, they are working on the patch for The Witcher 3, working on what is seemingly a big DLC pack, single player DLC for Cyberpunk, and working on the next Witcher game. And some reports have multiple Witcher games. So they're busy. But just, I mean, how hard is it to fucking unlock the frame rate and upgrade your shit to 4K? It can't be that difficult.
Can't put some new textures out there.
Yeah.
Just kind of just push it out. It's an old game. Just do it something. Get it
At
off
least,
your plate.
At least
if you're so busy, just finish it.
Yeah, at least go in and flip the freaking switch for 60 FPS. It's got to be a check box that you can uncheck to unlock the frame rate for us while we wait
it's a zero.
for you to,
So one and a zero. Just change the code. Chad just wants to 60 FPS. Cool. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, tonight. Good comment section. Tune in Monday for House of the Dragon Companion series. We'll be on episode 4 of that show. Show's going good. We're very excited to talk about that every single time. That one is just feels like blue water to me. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm ready for like a 10-year time jump and to lose some good actors. So,
I did want to mention, did you notice that they totally, this is a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers from House of the Dragon, you can go ahead and that. Did you see that?
Yeah.
You did?
I was going to send it to you.
I mean, did you see it when you were watching the episode?
No.
I totally missed it too because we didn't even talk about it. Yeah.
It's quick though. It's like a second on screen.
Yeah. It's just like a Starbucks coffee cup all over again.
Yep. They can fix that though
Yeah,
later. But
it's probably already fixed, to be honest with you.
I went back like a day or two ago when I saw the article and looked on like my HBO app in bed. I was like, I went to the spot in the scene. I'm like, nope, it's still there.
Oh, it is still there? That's
Yep,
hilarious. Maybe it's a
it's
little
still there.
harder to fix. Might have to come on like a re-release or something.
Oh,
I mean,
those
they
poor-
edited out that coffee cup pretty quick on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but that's because everyone was already like
Everybody
about to
was
murder them.
dogpiling.
They're like, we gotta get that out of there. But now we know. Yeah, now that's confirmed. Like that is green screen going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor guys. They'll fix it. All right, well, everyone, you have a good evening. Tune in Monday, and I don't know. Maybe Mike will be back next week.
Maybe
He might just stay at the beach bum it for life. He's never coming back. Permanent fixture on Discord and the comment section here. You won't be able to find him anywhere else. He'll just pop in and out from the beach.
Yeah. Well, he needs to come back and play Sekiro because now he made an oath. We saw it tonight. So, and never letting that one go. That'll be mentioned in every episode until a live stream of Sekiro happens.
You are the Chad, the oath maker.
The oath maker, yeah. And you two are you're oath breaker. He hasn't broken the oath yet. I guess technically you haven't really either because we didn't put a time frame on it. So, Mike, you have a month.
Started it.
You have a month, Mike.
You have a month.
You have a month to at least.
Chad's learning from his past oaths. He's like, all right, time frame.
Got to put a time frame
month
on it.
And he's gonna be like,
yeah.
All right, we out.
Still rocking to the music.
Oh yeah, still going, right? Oh no, we're live again.
We are live again. No. Definitely not good.
We're done. We're getting out of here.
Yes.